they have it, but it goes away after a month or so. I've had it for like 4 months, pretty solid. Ooh, and we're live. Cam Haynes, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome to California.
I know, and this place is amazing.
It's pretty badass, right?
Yeah, we did the grand tour, and I'm ready to lift.
Yeah, we're gonna shoot first. Don't want to have poor accuracy.
No,
that's
right.
like your whole motto of run, lift, shoot.
Yeah.
Shouldn't it be shoot, lift, run, or shoot, run, lift?
I don't know.
Do you run in the mornings and then you run at night too, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You have a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's too much.
Well, I just fall back on the moderation is for cowards. So that like pretty much covers any psycho overdoing, in excess. I'm like, it can be like, no, I'm just not a coward.
And what about overtraining? Is that bullshit?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's totally bullshit. But you were saying before that when you were 20, you're 50 now, but when you were 20, you could never do what you could do now when you were 50.
No.
So if you tried to do what you do now at 50 when you were 20, wouldn't it be overtraining?
I'm confused.
Well, I mean, if you weren't in shape enough, I mean, obviously you're in great shape because you do this all the time. Mm-hmm. But if you weren't in great shape and you tried to keep this up, like what you're doing right now.
Yeah. No, I feel, I don't know. I feel good.
Who is here? Jamie, somebody just walked in.
Delivery.
Oh, okay. So when you were 20, did you do anything?
I mean, I've always been active.
Right.
You know, I always played sports and ran 10K in the summers and things like that. So
just worked out a little or something?
Yeah. Yeah. Just wanted to lift a little bit, but not, you know, to the level I'm at now.
Yeah, but when I look at your Instagram, I get tired.
Yeah.
I do. Because you're doing all that shit, especially that shit you're doing with Outlaw Strength.
Yeah, Eric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Outlaw Strength on Instagram. You guys are doing ridiculous amounts of reps.
Yeah, we do. It's all about the reps. And it's like, I don't know. And like I say, your body gets used to what you ask of it.
Yeah.
You know, if I would have tried to do that exact same thing when I was young, no way. I mean, I'd probably be so sore I couldn't do anything for a week. Yeah,
that's what I was thinking also when I was looking at it. I was like, if you stop doing this, how long will it take before it slides off?
1 day. because when I don't work out for 1 day, I'm skinny, fat, and weak.
How many? No, for real. Like, how many days? What's the longest you've ever taken off?
Oh, probably hunting.
Oh, okay.
If I'm at home, I would never take any time off. But when I'm hunting, because that's what I'm, you know, there for.
Right, but when you're hunting, at least you're hiking.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of physical activity, and there's a lot going on there.
Mm-hmm.
But when I watch your videos, those Instagram videos of you guys, okay, we're going to do 100 reps of this, then we're going to do 100 reps of that.
Yeah.
Because right now, I told you I'm suffering through this little tendinitis thing that I've been trying to fight off.
Yep.
So I see all those reps, and my elbow starts hurting when I'm looking at the screen.
Yeah, you know, people ask me about my joints or about, you know, because they're battling different things like that, and I have no idea. I mean, I've been lucky where I don't have injuries, you know, I mean.
That's very disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm banged up a little bit, but, you know, I've talked to you before where I've had to take an Advil every day.
Yeah.
And not anymore. Well,
tell that story, because that's a crazy story. And I've talked about it on the podcast without you being here, but I called you after Rhonda Patrick did a podcast with me, and she was telling me about the dangers of what they call non-steroidal anti-inflammatories. That's what ibuprofen is.
Right.
And she was saying it ruins your gut biome, and that it actually causes inflammation. And so the people that are taking Advil every day for inflammation don't even realize that taking all that Advil actually is causing inflammation.
Right, yeah.
So you quit.
I quit, and then I wasn't, and I almost think it was maybe placebo a little bit, because it's like, not only did it not help after a while, but it made it worse, essentially, the inflammation. So after hearing that, and, you know, who's ever going to question Rhonda Patrick?
Right.
I mean, I would never. So I'm like, well, I better stop that. So since then, I haven't been taking anything. And then I have taken, there's this, you can get it at the health food store. It's called Kratom.
Oh, yeah.
You ever heard of that?
Yeah.
That seems to help.
You know, they're trying to outlaw that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, that Kratom stuff. I had Chris Bell on the podcast. He's doing a documentary about Kratom. And he did that documentary, Bigger, Stronger, Faster. And
yeah, I know who he is.
He brought in some guys that sell Kratom, and they're explaining what it does. And I tried it. And when I tried it, apparently if you take it in low doses, it's like almost a mild stimulant, which is what it felt like to me. Okay. But if you take it in higher doses, it relaxes you, and it's really good for pain. And Chris has had hip replacements.
What did he say about it? Was it positive or
negative? There's no negative.
Yeah.
There's no downsides to it. It's not addictive.
Right.
It's not bad for you. It's an herb. It's not toxic at all.
Right. So that's, I mean, if it's...
So, of course, the government's trying to make it illegal.
Oh, you can't have stuff out there that actually helps.
Yeah, they're trying to label it with fucking heroin and shit. It's just, they're so crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's, but I think that's helped. But other than that, I don't take nothing. And I feel great.
That's crazy. That's amazing. So when you're doing all these reps, like, so you do these crazy things on like the lat pull down machine where you do the whole stack, right?
The goal is 20 of the stack of everything.
That's fucking ridiculous. So how do you not get like joint pain? That doesn't
I don't know.
So it's just because you do it all the time? Your
I'm not
body's
sure.
conditioned to it?
I can't.
Makes me want to do it.
I know, but I don't want people to I mean, it's taken a while to work up there.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, I don't want people to go and try to do that right out of the gate and then get hurt. Yeah. Because I think that's what frustrates people more than anything is when they're excited to make a change, a lifestyle change, and then something happens and then, they get hurt. Yeah.
I was doing chin-ups 3 or 4 times a week. I decided I was going to do 50 chin-ups at least 3 or 4 times a week. Just make sure I did them all the time. Yeah. And then on top of that, I was doing heavy cleans, 90-pound cleans with kettlebells, cleans and presses. I started getting this whole nagging elbow pain.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be a pussy, so I kept working out through it.
Yeah.
And it would be fine. Like during the workout, it'd be fine. Like it would start to hurt at the beginning of the workout, but then once the blood would get flowing, then it would be fine. And then after a couple of weeks of that, my arm was like, hey, fuckhead. Yeah. This is enough of this.
Yeah. Cleans are tough, though. Cleans are hard. I mean, I know what I can get away with. I don't do deadlifts. I used to do deadlifts. I used to do all this stuff. Now I'm like, even though I want to do, I want to maybe every once in a while try deadlift, and because I know it feels good. I mean, my hamstrings feel good. My back feels strong when everything works right. But I just know that it's just not smart. Because
there's a high possibility that the shit could go south.
No, something gets tweaked in the bottom, and then it's one side, and then it's I feel it down my leg, and I'm like, not.
For a while, you were taking that 130-pound rock and throwing it in a backpack and going up mountains with that. You still doing that?
No, it's gone. My rock's gone.
What happened to the rock?
I don't know.
Somebody stole it?
I guess.
So you would leave it in the same spot?
Or roll it off the side of the mountain.
There's some dude who probably jerks off on that rock. He brought it home. This is the Cam Haynes rock. Ooh.
Sounds fun.
I wouldn't be surprised. I've seen a lot of things online.
Oh, yeah. There's some great people and there's some crazy people.
Oh, there's mostly great people.
Yeah, for sure.
I find that my interactions online are mostly positive. Like by far. The problem is that's like having mostly non-poisonous food.
Yeah, a little bit of poison is enough.
All you'd have to do is go to this restaurant 1 out of 10 times they fucking poison you. You'd never go back to that restaurant again.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's 1 out of 10. I think the interactions that I have online that are negative, it's not even 1 out of 100.
No, I don't think so. It's those for me. Those are the ones that I am drawn to, and I find myself. I see the negative, and I go past all these positive, and then I'll say something because just if I'm in a bad mood after a whole day of getting beat down by stupid comments, so I'll have to do something. Then I'll be like, why did I? So then I go back and I like try to acknowledge some positive ones because I feel guilty.
Well, I saw you post a picture of a bear that you shot the other day. It was a video of a bear you shot, and I said, ooh. I looked at those comments. I'm like, here we go.
Which one?
It was you shot a bear and you were opening its mouth and checking its teeth. And
yeah, for sure.
And I saw that video and I was like, whoa. That's a landmine right there.
Yeah, I know. Bear. Bear.
It's crazy.
It is.
That is the one animal that I think people have the most distorted perceptions of because of teddy bears and because of Yogi and because I really want to take anybody who has these weird thoughts about bears. I just really want to bring them to John and Jen's place in Alberta.
Yeah.
And I want to say, why don't you, we're going to come hang around. And if we're lucky, we're going to see a bear tear apart a baby bear.
Yeah.
Because they do that every day.
All the time.
They get up out of their dens and they go looking for baby bears.
Yeah.
And then maybe if we're lucky, we'll see a bear get a hold of a fawn and it'll be crying and it'll eat that thing alive.
Yeah. They'll have a different take on it. They'll be like, kill that.
Yeah. Just people are nuts. They're trying to bring wolves into California. Or Colorado, rather. They're talking about bringing wolves into Colorado. Like, okay, listen, folks, you don't have to do that. You don't. You already have bears.
You know, I saw this the other day. I think it's what inspired me to put up. There was a wolf video I posted. There's some great wildlife videos out there.
Oh, it's crazy, right?
Great. Not. They can be emotional, like with that bear killing the elk calf that where it was crying.
That was rough.
I don't even like to see that. I mean, I'm a hunter, but there's one where these wolves were chasing down this cow elk, and you know that's not a quick process. And I put that up because I had seen a couple celebrities, and I don't even know who the hell they are, movie stars, I think, or something. But they're Save the Wolf Fund or some wolf bullshit, and they're like howling. They're two humans, and they were howling like they were wolves.
Oof.
And it's like, I don't know. I mean, wolves are great. Wolves are one of my favorite animals. You know, called the Wild White Fang. Those books, I love those Jack London books when I was young. So wolves have always held a special place in my heart. But they're straight killers.
Yeah, they're organized.
That's what they do.
Killers.
So I mean, I'm not hating on them for doing that, but you just can't have wolves running around everywhere.
Well, yeah, you can. You don't understand.
Right.
In my neighborhood.
Yeah.
I was at home the other. I made a recording of this because I was at home. My dogs are barking like crazy. It was like 9 o'clock at night, just rah, 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 rah. It's like, what the fuck is going on? And I step outside, and these coyotes are like a half a block away from my house, just screaming.
Yeah.
Those are wolves. Those are little wolves.
Yeah.
And they got a hold of something. And then
they're celebrating.
Some dude sent me a video that's on his page of it's a compilation of all these videos from security cameras of coyotes killing cats and dogs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Those are wolves.
That's what they do.
Those are little wolves. That's all they are. I mean, they can breed with wolves. I mean, they literally are wolves. It's a fascinating thing, the disconnect that people have with predators.
Yeah.
You know, and I look, if I was in Idaho or Montana and I saw wolves, I'd be pumped. I would think it would be awesome. But you got to keep an eye on those things, folks.
Yeah.
You know, there's a reason why they killed them off 150 years ago. And it wasn't because they're awesome. It's because they will kill people. They will kill your kids. They will kill your dog. They will.
Yeah.
They will.
I've seen wolves in the wild. I saw a pack on Prince of Wales Island one time. They came down to the water once, and I've seen them. I had a wolf tag actually when I was in British Columbia hunting buffalo, and I thought I was going to get a shot at a wolf up there, but I never have. But
now they give tags up there because they're trying to diminish the population.
Yeah,
because they have too many.
It's $50. It's the same as in Alberta. I mean, we get our bear tags to go when we go up there to John and Jen's, and $50 for a wolf tag also. So it's not like there's a low number of wolves, But every time I've seen them, I have been in a certain amount of awe, just because they've been like this amazing animal for my entire life, and it's hard not to look at a wolf and not think regal and wild, and there's that saying that you'll see bears and lions in the circus, but you'll never see a wolf.
Yeah.
They're just. And I did the commercial with the wolf too, which was amazing. But
well, that Under Armour commercial you told me was pretty crazy, because they had this scene where the wolf snarls, and they had to save that scene for the very end.
Yeah, because it was. They said, it was supposed to be me against a wolf going after this elk, and then I ended up winning that the story as it was told, and they needed to get the wolf snarling, and so they brought some meat out, gave it some meat, but they said, well, actually gave it, then took it away, and obviously that's going to make any animal upset, especially a wolf. But they said once we do that, we're done with the wolf, because it's not going to just snap out of it, and it's just that's going to be its mindset for a while about it's not going to be happy.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Go back to that.
I think it shows at the end. It should, yeah.
Fuck.
And that was actually, I mean, people thought that was edited and it wasn't, you know, right there with me. No, it was right there with me. You know, they did a great job of putting that commercial together. It wasn't necessarily snarling at me or growling at me, but it was there. It was fun. That was amazing.
How big was that wolf?
I think it was about 130 pounds. I mean, it was tall. That's what surprised me is how tall they are.
Long legs, right?
Yeah, and I think, you know, we were talking about earlier, as far as endurance goes, wolves, I believe, are the #1 animal out there as far as they can run miles and miles and miles, and they're tall, and they can just, you know, their gait is, you know, whatever, it allows them to go for hours and miles.
Yeah, I was talking about running with my dog, you know, and he's only a year old, and he's in such good shape now because he runs with me all the time.
Yeah.
See, if we run 2 miles, I run 2 miles. He runs 7 or 8.
Right.
Because he's running up and back and up and back and up and back. And,
yeah.
But it's amazing, like, how good a shape they're in right out of the box.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a fucking puppy.
Yeah.
And he just books it up that hill. Just, yeah. And he turns around and looks at me, come on, bitch.
I know.
And he comes running back to me.
Yeah, animals, you know, animals pretty much have the advantage over us on everything other than, you know, I mean, they're stronger jaws, you know, their muscles stronger for what they have. We have endurance as a advantage over most animals.
Potential endurance.
Like elk. But luckily we have, you know, we can use our minds.
Well, that is the reason why we're so weak. You know, it's so fascinating how things balance out.
Yeah.
It's like us using our mind, creating houses and cities and cars and just sitting in a chair all day. It makes you soft, but then you figure out how to make a gun. Yeah. And that balances everything out.
Yeah.
Unless the gun jams. And then nature comes back into play.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, all these people that are, you know, into the wolf, you know, save the wolf. Like, the wolf's okay. Like, you guys, go to Idaho. Like, people are freaking out up there. Like, the wolves are okay. Oh, like, they're starting to, you know, and you go to Alaska. I was in Park City recently in Utah. And when I was there, we went to a store that had a wolf rug. And I was like, Jesus. I'm like, you guys are selling a wolf rug? And the guy explained to me, he said, well, these wolves are all shot by the government in Alaska because they're overpopulated. So they're in these areas where they're trying to protect the moose population for these the indigenous people that are subsistence hunters and live up there. And they have like a certain quota. And he's like, so it's actually like it's a good thing to sell these rugs because they're going to shoot these wolves no matter what. They're trying to keep the populations in check. And I think that's something that these people that have because see, the problem with like celebrities is like they probably didn't think that shit through at all. They just think this is a cool thing to be a part of. Of course, everybody wants wolves to live. I'll just go and say, we've got to support the wolf. We've got to save the wolf. Yeah. And so it's like, it looks like a cool thing for you to be a part of.
I think one of them would have been Lisa Bonet. She's like kind of a hippie, right?
Oh, she's a super hippie.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's got a nose ring.
Yeah.
Everything.
She's always, she's pretty. I remember that. But
yeah, remember, isn't it funny that Bill Cosby was mad at her because she was naked in a movie? Remember? Oh, she was naked in Angel Heart with Mickey Rourke.
And he was mad at that, huh?
He was mad at that. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Funny how things work out.
It's ironical.
Yeah, it is ironical. I mean, look, I don't know. I think wolves are awesome. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, folks. I just don't think... And this was me too. Before I started hunting, before I started taking regular trips into the woods, you know, you don't get it. You just don't get it. You got to go there.
You do.
If you don't go there, you don't get it.
Yeah, you know, it's we try to tell the story. I mean, we're telling the story, and it's getting through to some people. I mean, I can see it. I can see there's education there. I mean, and I'm sure you get messages every day from people who have never hunted, who are interested in it, who just want to know what the lifestyle is because. We've sort of romanticized the lifestyle, and it's easy to do because it's the mountains, and the mountains are, you know, you get that connection and you get that empowerment. So I think we are kind of turning the tide a little bit.
I got a message from a guy a while back, maybe 4 or 5 months ago, who was a vegan for a long time, started listening to the podcast. At first was upset about to talk about hunting.
Yeah.
Ran into some health issues. His doctor recommended he start eating animal products again. Started with eggs, worked his way back up to meat, ate meat again, was getting, you know, healthy, grass-fed, ethically sustained animals, ethically raised animals. Decided to go hunting. Became a hunter. Shot his first deer, ate his first deer, and now he's going to be a hunter.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy went full circle.
Right.
And part of the journey of him going for full circle was listening to people talk about it on the podcast and realizing this idea that he had in his head that these people that are out there hunting are all people that hate animals and they're cruel and they're just rednecks that are going out there drinking beer and shooting these animals and laughing and hooting and hollering about it.
Yeah. You know, well, there's a couple points I want to make there. One of them is your podcast has been amazing for the education part. And I mentioned this, Adam and I did a podcast with the Gritty Bowman. And I said, you know, Joe's podcast, just because the type of person Joe is as far as being open-minded and giving everything a chance, not coming in with biases, are the same type of listeners you've kind of cultivated, or you know, they like you because, I don't know, they see themselves in you maybe. But anyway, so those people have come in and listened to these podcasts like this without that bias. And when you listen to it and listen to us talk about it, it's not the redneck, you know, laughing because they're killing things person they may have thought. It's, you know, this whole thing we talk about. And so this podcast in particular is, I think, been a huge tool as far as promoting hunting and ethical hunting and just the empowerment of being a hunter. And so that, I don't know, just this venue, I don't know if we could have ever done that without, you know, the Joe Rogan podcast. It's been amazing. I don't know. Have you noticed that? I mean, with other things besides hunting?
I think floating, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
Sensory deprivation tanks.
Right.
That business was going under. There was virtually no tank centers in the world. There was like one of them in Burbank, and I had heard one of them was in San Francisco. They were hard to find. There was none in New York. Like one guy had one in an apartment in New York that you could rent out. A guy had one like that in his house in Vegas that you could rent out. There was none. And now there's hundreds of tank centers all over the world. And when you fill out a form, dude, I got one in 2002. I bought a house. The house had a basement, and I bought the house with the basement for two reasons. One, because I wanted to put a tank in there, and two, because the yard was big, so I could have my dogs running around the yard.
Yeah.
I just wanted to have a yard where the dogs could run around. Those were my two requirements for a house. Everything else I was like, I really don't give a shit about it. As long as look, the TV sits there, and okay, here's where the bed goes. I'm a man, you know. There's things that women sweat when it comes to houses that dudes just don't sweat. But for me, a big one was I tried a tank a couple of times at this place called Soothing Solutions in Burbank. I don't even know if it's around anymore. But and then I put a tank in my basement, and then I started ranting and raving about it and doing these YouTube videos about it. And then I got a new tank from the Float Lab, so I gave my old tank away online. I had like a raffle, not a raffle, but like a random draw. I said, just send me an email. I gave an email address out, and I'll just pick a random person. So I literally just scrolled through my email. I'm like, thank, right there, and picked this guy out and sent my tank to him and had it set up and sent the salt down to him and the whole deal. And then that alone, just having that contest and giving away a tank, and then putting together this video for the tank. Red Band put together this really cool video about it. So these tank centers, because of me talking about it on the podcast, started opening up all over the world to the point where now when you sign up at a lot of tank centers, the first time you go there, they say, how'd you hear about us? Whether it was through the internet, through books, or Joe Rogan. Like I'm one of the
one of the options.
Yeah, I'm one of the options on a lot of their questionnaires. And that probably has had even more of an impact than hunting. Well,
it's, you know, it's amazing. I hear it all the time. Well, people have told me you wouldn't be anything without Joe Rogan. That's some comments that I've got.
Oh, you can't see. There you go again. You're concentrating on the negative ones.
I know, but
I wouldn't be bow hunting if it wasn't for you.
Right.
So there you go.
Well,
I wouldn't be me if it wasn't for that. I wouldn't be the me that I am now. So there you go.
Okay. Well, I put it because I was like, God, I know. I don't know. I think we've talked about it before, but this podcast gets to more more people than CNN. Is that right?
Oh yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
So it's, and I heard Jordan Peterson talking.
You heard me, Don Lemon. What?
Yeah. That's good. That's good, because I trust this more than CNN.
You don't trust CNN? Oh, you're a redneck. You're all on that Fox News tip.
Oh, Fox News now. That's where you get your news.
That's solid reporting. That is legit. That's Sean Hannity. That guy, I trust him with everything.
Yep, I hear you. But so, and I heard Jordan, because we're talking about his recent trajectory. I mean, he's been, I'm assuming, been brilliant in his whole life.
Yeah.
Well, in the last 18 months or 2 years or whatever. And I think a lot of that is because of here. So I put in my phone, I was like, I'm going to do some research on Joe Rogan before this. I'm going to turn the tables on him.
Oh.
I'm going to podcast him. So I was like putting in there Joe Rogan influence or Joe Rogan effect or whatever. And I couldn't find anything. So I think I need to write something to quantify that. But yeah, this gets to so many people.
It gets to a lot of people, but in all honesty, like just being not even just trying to be humble, but all I'm doing is talking about shit that's out there.
Yeah.
It's real simple. It's like I'm not really doing anything unusual other than that. Just being open-minded, which I try very hard to do.
Yeah, but when you say you just do this and just do that, nobody else does that. They come in with these biases, you know. So you say
that's a problem.
Yeah, you say you just do that. That's a big thing.
Yeah, I think people need to stop doing that. I think that's a big part of the problem we have in this world. And I was talking with Dan Harris from Good Morning America. That's what he's on, right? Yeah. And he used a word that I love, a term that I love. Toxic tribalism.
Yeah.
You know, so, I mean, you see that with CNN versus Fox News. It's like neither one of them want to look at things objectively. Fox News has a very clear right-wing bias. CNN has a very clear left-wing bias.
Yeah.
And they just go to war with each other.
Right.
And then the president's calling everybody fake news. And, you know, it's hard to see what's really going on. People want to look at their side, they want to defend their side, and they never want to say, okay, I see this guy's point.
Yeah.
But you got to be able to see people's points.
Right.
I mean, that's one thing that I always say about vegans after I make fun of them. I say, I understand why you would want to do that, and I think it's a compassionate choice. I get it. I totally understand.
So do I.
I do, and I support their decision. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think you should be real careful with your health if you're doing that, though, and I'm not bullshitting. This is not me being facetious. Or
meathead. Yeah,
I'm not being a meathead. You should be careful with your health. There's a lot of things that you should probably check. B12 is a big one. That's a huge issue with vegans, is B12 deficiencies. And I think if you are a vegan, you should consider supplementing with things that you don't have a problem with eating, like maybe even some cricket protein or mollusks like shellfish. People should look into shellfish. Shellfish, not only are they sustainable, but they're so primitive. They don't even have like a neurological system. Like they don't feel any fucking pain. Like you could eat clams all day long. They don't know what the fuck is going on. We have this idea about clams because they do that, because they close, that somehow, oh, the poor little thing, he's just trying to hide. Like
so
that.
There's
that
pearls
thing,
in there.
Yeah, no, that's oysters.
Oh, okay. I don't know anything about either. I know about bow hunting.
Yeah. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. But to me, meat tastes better.
Yeah.
You feel better too.
No, but as you were saying, I mean, yeah, I don't have a problem with vegans or their diet, and I understand. I mean, you know, if you think about killing an animal, nobody wants to kill animals, right? I mean, that's not, I don't know, that's never.
You don't want to kill an animal for no reason.
No.
You want the meat of the animal.
The act of killing it is not enjoyable.
No.
It's part of the process.
It's a weird sense of loss, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And so I get that they're like, well, I don't want to kill any animals. I get it. That's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, just having that, you know, the biases that come with it is what causes problems.
Well, they're doing what they think is good to shame people who eat meat or attack people who eat meat, and especially attack people who actively go out and kill the animals themselves, because they think that somehow or another it will lessen the amount of animals that are killed. I think the opposite happens. I think it shores up people's aggression towards vegans. They get it. They firmly plant their heels on the other side of the line.
Yeah. And
they're like, fuck you, hippie, greeny, asshole, tree-hugging bitches.
Yeah.
You know, go eat your sprouts.
Right.
I'm going to go over here and eat a burger. There's a lot of people that go out and eat burgers because of that. You know?
Probably. Yeah.
You know my friend Mike Hawkridge from BC, you met him?
Yeah.
Mike was dealing with people from Vancouver that were sending him hate mail because of wolves. Now, where he lives in the real British Columbia, where there's fucking wolves and grizzly bears everywhere.
Yeah.
We found a wolf kill while we were up there. It was pretty wild. The wolf had got a hold of a moose calf and just tore it apart. A pack of wolves, hair all over the place, and
that's what they do.
It's pretty fresh too. But he's shot a bunch of them, and somehow or another, some group of people found out that he shot wolves.
Yeah.
And where he lives, you get an unlimited amount of wolf tags.
Right.
They're trying to kill wolves as much as possible. You can kill 100 wolves a day if you can.
Yeah.
And that's totally legal.
Yeah.
Because they have ranchers up there, and like I think one of his neighbors, a wolf, it was like in the middle of the winter, a wolf got a hold of one of the cows, like a bunch of wolves, a pack. So these people are in their house, and they're listening to a pack of wolves tear apart a cow that's like, 100 yards from their fucking bed. Scary, freaky shit.
Right.
Like, they live in the real wild. So these people are sending him all these death threats. And so he said, look, every time you guys send me one of these, I'm going to shoot a wolf in the guts.
Yeah.
Radio silence.
They stopped?
Yeah. He said to this lady, he said, every time you send me an email, I'm going to shoot a wolf in the guts.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
She's probably in front of her keyboard going,
that was a tough one.
I don't want to kill a wolf, though.
That was a tough one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but BC was, they just outlawed grizzly hunting up there because of that. They did a poll in, I think, Vancouver. And
not only that, they did a very limited email poll with about 3,000 participants.
Right, yeah.
And 76% of 3,000 people said that they were opposed to grizzly bear hunting.
Yeah.
But I think if you're going to have any kind of a poll like that, you should have to have these people educated first as to what they're voting about. Do you really understand what it's like up there?
I know.
Because if you talk to Mike shot a grizzly bear in the head from like 20 feet away as he was trying to get into his cabin.
Yeah.
Like, they are fucking ferocious, and they're huge, and there's a lot of them. There's no shortage of grizzly bears in British Columbia.
No, but it's that whole education piece. But that's, I mean, you could take that to even voting in our elections.
Sure.
I mean, we need to educate people. People need to be educated on the topics, not just hunting, but everything. Yeah. But they can vote. Their vote still counts.
It's like you can't tell people they can't vote because that's fucked up. You can't say, well, you have to have a certain amount of education or you can't vote. That's
no, but what they need to do is trust the people who do know.
Yeah.
Like up there, the biologists who actually have boots on the ground and they know what grizzly are doing and how many there are. Let's go ahead and trust those people.
It's hard to see when you're in Vancouver, though. The problem is you're in Vancouver, you're eating at a nice sushi restaurant, you're hanging out with your friends, you're going to the movies, everything's beautiful. Vancouver's so nice.
It's beautiful.
You look at the mountains, you see Whistler off in the distance. Oh, it's so pretty.
Yeah.
I don't want to kill a bear. Don't kill the bears.
I know.
But if you just go on a 6-hour car ride, just go, just keep going north, get out of your car, and I want you to go for a 2-mile hike into the woods. Just go for a 2-mile hike, and I want you to sit there for a day. Just sit there for a day. You're going to see some shit.
Right.
And you will realize, this is a different world. This is a wild world.
Yeah.
Like, these things out here, they don't give a shit if people are real or not. They are there doing what they've always done. The bear running around looking for shit to eat. The animals are running around looking to get the fuck away from things that are trying to eat them.
Yeah.
And this is how they've always existed.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. And it's, those bears, and it's just like the wolves killing the cow, you said 20 feet from wherever they lived. I mean, that's just what they do. And that's what grizzlies do. Grizzlies are going to kill, if they can kill a moose calf or an elk calf or a deer fawn, they're not wasting a bunch of energy chasing a full-grown animal around. So they're using less energy, burning less calories. They get an easy kill. They get high protein. That's just what they do. But the reason why we need to kill them is they're never going to stop doing what they do. We just need to control the numbers. So how often that's happening. If that's happening too often because there's too many of them, well, then the moose and elk numbers go down. And it's just balancing act. And people will say, well, just let animals take care of themselves. They always have been. And it's like, No, we've always hunted. It's just now that people are saying, well, we shouldn't hunt, you know, so they're trying to take man out of the equation now. Man's always been in the equation as far as hunting.
Yeah, I think people have an idea about it based on the excess that people have committed. I mean, people have committed some atrocities when it comes to animals in this country alone. Everyone's seen those stacks of buffalo heads. And when they were doing market hunting in particular in the 1800s, and many people attribute that to hunters. Erroneously, that's not really what it was. What killed off all those animals was a thing called market hunting. And this is back, people have to realize there was no refrigerators back then. And so, you know, you weren't like getting steaks and freezing them, and there was not a lot of like large scale agriculture back then either. There was a few ranchers and farmers, but when people had all these animals that were out in the wild, and they could hire these people that were in the military that had just gotten done with the war, and they were good shots, this would be a good way to make a living. Go out there and shoot some buffalo, bring back the tongues. Buffalo tongue was they would shoot a giant buffalo and just take the tongue. They'd take the hides, and you know, sometimes they would take the meat, and then they wiped out almost everything. They wiped out most of the deer, most of the elk, most of the antelope, until guys like Teddy Roosevelt came along and went, whoa, 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 hit the fucking brakes. Like, we got to protect these animals. We got to protect this land. We got to protect these animals. We got to set up private or public land, rather, where you can't do anything to it, where people could just roam and hike and camp and fish and hunt and do whatever you want. And we got to make sure we protect these animal populations, because they got down to some incredibly low number of elk at the turn of the century, right? Yeah,
well, I mean, they almost wiped out buffalo completely. I don't know what the elk got to, but I know, you know, as you know, as conservationists, we like to say that hunters are conservationists now. But so one of the figures that we share is that there's more animals now than there was 100 years ago. So I don't know what they were 100 years ago, what the numbers were, but yeah, very low.
Not only that, there's more white-tailed deer today than when Columbus landed. Although Columbus really didn't really get here. When Columbus landed in the Bahamas, there's more white-tailed deer here than now. And part of that is because of farming, you know, which is real weird. Like a white-tailed deer is a weird animal. Like, they're kind of a farm animal in a lot of a way.
And it's almost like, you know, if you're doing it right as far as killing the older bucks, you're almost farming. You know, you're not harvesting when they're young. You're waiting till they're mature, and so it's almost like, you know, you're letting that crop age, essentially.
What is this, Jamie? In 1910, the U.S. Forest Service estimated there were only between 500 and 1,000 elk in Colorado. Holy shit.
And now there's 125,000?
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, 150,000? I don't know.
There's a fuckload.
There's a lot more than that.
The number's a fuckload. There's 10 million. Okay, it says the elk population in North America stood at about 10 million animals before European settlers came and systematic wholesale hunting began. Wow. That's amazing. Colorado became famous for its trophy hunting, and European gentlemen traveled here to try their luck. Sir George Gore. I heard that guy was a cunt. I'm just making that up.
He's a trophy hunter.
He's a trophy hunter. For whom Gore Pass near Kremling is named, came from Ireland to hunt in western Colorado. He shot elk and deer from the bed of a wagon. What a dick.
That's road hunting.
He only took prime hides and large antlers and left the meat to rot. Oh boy, what a bad person.
That sentence right there. That's what people still think happens. I don't know anybody who ever does. That's illegal. First of all, that's poaching.
Illegal. Yeah, that's a good thing. The good thing to point out. It is illegal to not take the meat. Not only is it illegal to not take the meat, you have to take the neck meat in Colorado. You have to cut out the neck meat.
All edible meat.
You got all the edible meat.
Even between the ribs. I mean, there's a little. I don't know about if that's a law in Colorado. I know in
some
Alaska,
places,
you kill a moose, you're even taking that meat in between the ribs. I mean, you're taking all edible meat there. And so people say, well, are you one of those trophy hunters, or you just don't take the head and leave it to rot? It's like, you can't do that.
Why would you do that anyway? It's so stupid.
Well, I wouldn't do it, but it's illegal anyway.
If you walk down the street, if you eat steak, and you walk down the street and you saw, like, for some reason, someone had put coolers of prime ribeyes just sitting there. You'd be like, what the fuck is this here for? Like, you'd look around. Is there anybody here? I got to take this. What is this? You can't just leave this here.
Right.
You left it here to rot.
So why would you do that when you're hunting?
Right. That's just you finding it, right?
Yeah.
Probably you would not eat it now that I think about it. You'd be like, what is this, a trap?
I get the point you're making.
The point I was making is if you go through all the effort to go hunt and you do eat meat, of course you're going to eat the meat. Not only that, the meat you're eating is incredibly precious.
Yeah.
Like elk meat is incredibly it's so delicious.
Well, here's what I know. So when we go hunting, and I can speak for myself, I'm sure I can speak for you too.
Speak for me.
When you go hunting, you bring back all the meat you can. You eat all the meat you can of that animal. You like sharing it. The typical, I'll just say American, but wastes 40% of their food. I'm not talking, this is what they buy. You know how I'm done now in the garbage type thing?
Yeah.
So hunters, I know I don't do that. If I kill a bull and I bring all that meat home, 40% of that's not going in the garbage.
No,
you know what I mean?
Chance.
So it's because we have that connection with the animal. To me, it'd be, I don't know if I'm thinking about it, it'd be disrespectful, but it's worth, there's so much value in it. I would never throw it in the garbage.
No,
you know what
sacrilege.
I mean? But when you buy it at a store, whatever, you know, I'm not saying people are putting, you know, 40% of prime rib in the garbage, but just as a rule, we waste a lot of food.
I think it would be a good thing for every single human being to grow some vegetables, and if you eat meat, to once in your life kill an animal. I think everyone should do it. I really do. There was an article that I tweeted today about that. I forget the subject, the title of it rather, but it was something along the lines of it's not healthy to hide from the fact that there's death involved in eating meat.
Right.
Something. I did a terrible job of paraphrasing that. You find what that title is? It's an article. Okay, we shouldn't hide the gory details of how meat reaches our plate.
Right. What are those? Are those chickens? What are those?
Oh, yeah. And I think that's very, very important. And I think that, like, what I'm looking at
That's their life, right there.
Fucking gross.
That's their life.
Yeah. It's fucked up because I eat chickens, but I don't eat my chickens.
Yeah.
Like someone said, "Do you eat those chickens?" I'm like, "No, those are like my pets." It's weird, right? But I'll eat the shit out of some chicken.
Yeah, but when you think of it like that, I mean, so when we're looking at this picture, I know people looking at or listening to the podcast can't see the picture, but I mean,
we're looking at an enormous warehouse. I mean, enormous. It looks like several football fields long, and it's filled with chickens that are just stuffed
on
into
top
these
of
rows.
each other, right?
Yeah.
And that's their life until they get killed. And when you think of that, okay, would I rather do that or would I rather procure my own meat hunting? You know, everybody would say that's not right. And I believe hunting is a noble way of procuring meat.
Yeah.
And I think when you look at that, but people don't see that. They don't think about that when they order their, you know, chicken nuggets. They're not thinking about that.
No.
You know,
just hungry.
Just hungry.
It's just too easy to get food. I really think it's too easy to get food. That's why we're such fatzos. That's a big problem.
Yeah.
But it's also too easy psychologically because we just don't have any connect. I think you should have a connection if you're eating a living thing. It just seems like you should understand what it is, just for your own mind, for a sense of balance.
Yeah.
And 97% of Americans eat meat.
Eat meat.
And something like 65% of vegans, when they get drunk, eat meat.
Really?
Yeah, some crazy number. It might be higher than that. I think I read it was like 84% of vegans. But see, I'm just making up numbers at this point.
That's fine. It doesn't matter.
That might have been a tweet I read. Somebody might have just made that up.
Who's going to audit us? So a vegan drunk
they
is
get
like,
drunk.
so meat's like an ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like an ex-girlfriend, yeah.
Yeah. So
you get drunk if you're lonely.
You're
what
texting
are you doing,
your ex-girlfriend
bitch? Are you awake?
and you're eating a hot dog. Is that right?
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, exactly the same thing.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
It's a little over a third that confess to eating meat when they're drunk.
Oh, then it's 100% because 3/4 of them are liars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Surprising number of drunk vegetarians secretly eat meat.
That is an awesome picture right there. I love that picture.
The problem with this thing is this is a third of people that they asked.
And British vegetarians.
Oh, British people. It's a totally different animal. They fucking hate hunters.
They love saying cunt. Oh, did I see effing cunt in there, actually?
Does it say that? Really?
I thought I did.
might have been looking for.
Oh
it.
no, fleshing out. Close
I like
enough.
how you said effing cunt, but you didn't say fucking cunt.
No, that's a cuss word.
Yeah, they do love to say cunt, but they're the most delusional. There's like South Americans are
there's
super
no hunting
delusional.
there.
Exactly.
No hunting.
Brazil for some strange reason.
I get a lot of hate from Brazil.
But they love meat. You go to Brazil, they invented the churrascaria. Churrascarias are the shit, man.
Yeah.
Did we go to one when we went to Brazil?
Is that where they threw the plates on the wall? Right?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
They threw the plates.
Yeah, they fucking chuck plates like frisbees and shatter them.
Yeah.
They know how to party in Brazil.
They do. And it's just meat on meat on meat.
You get
beautiful.
a card. It's got green on one side and red on the other. A lot of people have been to these, like Fogo de Chão is a great one that's here in L.A. and all over the country. But that's what they eat. They're famous for meat.
When you're done with the meat, you give them the red card.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you flip that card over. You're like, you're done. It's green on one side, red on the other. Yeah, you tap out. Yeah, we go to town. Nobody can fuck with Ari Shaffir when it comes to that place. Nobody.
Really?
No, I've never seen. Look, when me and Ari go to eat, generally speaking, I'm more of a glutton than him. I'll eat more than him.
Yeah.
But not at that place.
Really?
There's something about like all you can eat. I think maybe it's some like because his dad was in the Holocaust or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, or he's just like, because it's free, because it's like you could eat, he just won't stop. I've never seen anything like it. I go, like, where are you putting all this fucking food? Everyone's done. Joey Diaz is done. I'm done. Eddie Bravo's done.
Yeah.
We're done. We're just sitting there like this, like, Ari's still, I'm like, you're still on green? You're still on green. He's like, I'm still on green.
Yeah.
And the guy will come over, got lamb chops? Lamb chops, yes, bring the lamb chops.
God.
I can't, I've never seen
anything
anything like
it. That stuff is so
it.
good, though, especially in Brazil there.
Yeah, oh, they know how to do it.
Yeah.
And they have grass-fed meat over there, too. They're not fucking around with the corn-fed and all that. They don't have the sick, fat cows that we have over here. But it is weird how you get a lot of hate from people over there. But it's because of the propaganda and the negative aspects of trophy hunting. Like when you see a guy standing there with a dead elephant or some shit like that, like, why the fuck would you kill an elephant? Like that kind of stuff in people's mind, like, or a giraffe. Why the fuck would you kill a giraffe? Like people have this idea that these people just go over there to kill things. And so this is what trophy hunting is. So they see you with an elk, like, oh, you piece of shit. Why you just go over there and shoot that thing? Like, no, this is my food for a year. Like you're going to that goddamn steakhouse and you keep that thing on green. What do you think you're doing? You're killing. You're killing with your credit card.
I know. It's well, all we can do is try to educate and share the share the lifestyle. It's like I think it's important to be leaders and how we share that, because I see things that I wish weren't shared sometimes. I mean, I've even made mistakes. I'm not trying to say that I'm dialed in and I never make a mistake on what I post or whatever. But I just think we need to be stewards of hunting. And if we do it right, we're not going to get everybody. We're not going to educate everybody because there's some that just won't listen. But we can make some inroads.
I think we have. And I think it's important to relay experiences because I think there's things to be learned from a lot of experiences, like talking to you and talking to Courtney Dowalter about just ultra marathons and endurance running. There's something to be learned from that about the kind of mindset that it takes to do that. I think having these conversations with you guys has changed the way I look at those things. Like, fuck, man, before I met you, I never ran. I'm running all the time now. Dude, I run all the time.
I don't know. You look slim. I mean, have you lost, how much you weigh?
Like 196, 195.
So you're about the same?
No, I'm a little lighter.
Oh, are you?
I was up to like 204 when I was a fatso.
Oh, okay.
That was the fattest I've ever been.
Thought you looked slimmer.
I'm maybe a little slimmer. Maybe I'm like 195 or 194. 194 is when I'm pretty lean. I've got a full six pack, look jacked. At 194, when I hit about when I get to 200, that's when I go, okay, we better start doing the fasting again. When I really get into my intermittent fasting, I'll spend either 14 or 16 hours without eating in a day. I only eat for like 8 or 10 hours in a day.
Oh. I eat about every 30 minutes. I'm actually starving.
Are you starving right now?
No.
See, but you're in a different thing though, because I'm eating mostly fat, and a lot of guys are on that carnivore diet now. When we had that Sean Baker in here, that doctor, the Bells, Chris Bell and Mark Bell, those guys are both on the carnivore diet now. They don't eat anything but meat. all day.
Wow.
Yeah, Mark says he's never felt better. So he's thin, he looks ripped. If you look at his Instagram page, he's fucking jacked.
Yeah.
Shredded. He's also on steroids. that probably helps. But he looks good.
Yeah. Well, it's I don't know. One of my favorite.
Yeah, look at the picture of Jamie just goes, Jesus Christ. Yeah, look at him. Look at that picture.
Oh my God.
All he's eating is meat.
Yeah.
All he's eating is meat. Jacked.
Yeah.
Jacked.
Stud.
Plus steroids. A little bit of steroids there. But whatever.
Yeah. Who's that? Mark Bell? Yeah.
Yeah. He's a fucking animal.
Yeah.
Guy.
I watched the
Bigger, Stronger, Faster.
Is that what it was? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was his brother was on there, right?
He had 3 brothers, and one of them died.
Yeah.
One of them died. They hit a drug problem. He was a pro wrestler.
Yeah. That's the one I watched.
Yeah.
It was
powerful documentary.
It was. It was pretty sad. I mean, he wanted, his brother wanted to make it be something, and just like a lot of us, and it's hard to say.
Well, he ran into the problem that I've seen many people run into, those goddamn prescription pills. They're so scary. They're one of the scariest things that are in modern society, and it's something that's not talked about enough. You only hear it talked about from family members of people that have lost people or close friends of people that have lost people. But it's a giant problem in this country. We're losing thousands of people every day to pain pills.
Yeah. Well, I put something up not long ago about suicide, and it was amazing how many people sent me messages. I mean, how many people are affected or just are dealing with negative thoughts of their own and little mini battles. And it's just like that one post. I don't know. I think people just need to know that there's people out there that care,
Right.
But I don't know how when they get in that cycle of pills, I don't really know. I'm not a doctor. I don't know how that works. I don't know what they're dealing with. I just know that, social media can be used. It can be irritating sometimes, but man, it can be good, especially for people like that. Just be able to reach out and maybe, get some support or encouragement or something.
Yeah.
And it's,
well, for someone that they admire like you, that's gigantic. If they can read something like that, sometimes that's all people need, just a little wind in their sail.
Yeah.
Just a little something. Just a little something to
I'm
get
not
you
saying
out
I
of the door.
did anything. All I said, it was in the news. There was a quarterback up at Washington State that killed himself. He's going to be the starting quarterback on the football team, 21 years old, and he shot himself a few weeks ago. And I didn't want to say that, well, because I don't want to say that, well, it's because it's an athlete, that's why anybody cares, but it's anybody. It's any person who's 21 years old. I'm thinking, what a tragedy that is. But that was in the news, so it happened. And so that's why I put it up. And I can't do anything. It's not like I just wanted people to be aware and just have that number to call in case there was a 21-year-old feeling that exact same way. And this is seemingly some kid who had everything. I mean, a college quarterback, and it's just like, it just breaks my heart to think that he would get to that point where, killing himself was the answer. And
well, it's even harder for younger people because they don't have a lot of life experiences and they don't know that, like a guy like you or I who's lived a long time and have seen a lot of shit, that you've gone through your ups and downs, and when you hit it down, you go, well, this sucks, but I know it's going to get better.
Yeah.
Just got to figure out why it sucks, address why it sucks,
Right.
Apologize if you need to, correct whatever the issue is that's making you feel like shit, pull yourself out of it, do a bunch of positive things. Next thing you know, you're going to be okay again.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you're 21 years old, you think the world's over.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when my girlfriend dumped me when I was 18. I was so fucking bummed out. I couldn't imagine living without her.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't believe that this is over.
Yeah.
I can't believe you're so devastated because you're a baby.
Right.
You're
right.
an 18-year-old baby. You don't know jack shit. But when you get older and you've had more life experiences and more things, you get more perspective and you kind of understand like what this feeling is, this bad feeling. And you just know, well, hey, I just got to get the fuck out of the house. I got to go hang out with my friends. I got to go do a bunch of positive things, go hit the gym, take a yoga class, do something fun, and then everything's going to be okay. You realize, hey, look, life's not perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect life. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
You're going to have ups, you're going to have downs. But when you're 21 years old, it's very difficult to see that. And also, who knows what else was going on in his life, whether it was pills or whether it's head trauma. You know, a lot of football players wind up killing themselves. It's not a coincidence.
Yeah,
it's directly related to head trauma.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't want to speculate on any of that. It's just
it's horrible.
I get a lot of, when you said, well, you go hang out with your friends, sometimes, because I've been in certain groups where even my friends aren't positive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're like, that even makes it worse. It can. So, I mean, that's where I see the positives of social media. And I wish I could respond to everybody who sends me a message and just say, hey, you know, and it's cliche, keep hammering or whatever, but I know I get inspiration from people online. And if I get a shout out, it feels good.
Sure.
Doesn't mean anything.
The Rock wears your T-shirt.
Doesn't mean, I don't know if it doesn't mean anything.
It does mean something.
But it does to me, you know? And so I just know what it's like to be in a small town and to not, I'm not saying I didn't have any positive friends or whatever, but I know what it'd feel like to not have anybody to really lean on, you know?
Yeah.
And so I try to think about maybe people like I was. And man, I just think we can, I don't know, together, shit, we can do a lot of positive things. It just, like I said, it breaks my heart to think of people living negative each day.
I agree with you, and I think that's one of the things that social media can do that's positive, and also podcasts can do that's positive, is it exposes you. Like, there's people that are listening to this conversation right now that they're taking comfort from it. Like, they might be either stuck in a shitty job or they might be alone, and they're here with us. They're here hanging out, and they realize there's people like us out there. There's friendly, positive people out there.
Yeah.
Even if you're alone, at least you're not around negative twats.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of negative people around, and it's unfortunate that they're negative. I wish you could fix them all.
Yeah.
But sometimes life gives you these lessons in the form of disastrous lives that you witness. And you see these disastrous lives, and you just go, oh my God, I got to get the fuck away from this crazy asshole and live my life in a more positive, productive way, because I see what can happen if you blame the world for all your problems, and all you do is hate, and you hate on people that are successful, and you hate on people that are whatever, wealthy, good looking, whatever. Pick the thing. Girls that are thin, whatever the thing is that you hate on. There's so many people out there that waste all of their energy doing that. And if you're around them, you can't fix them. It's so hard to fix people. But what you can do is see what they're doing that's so negative and just completely degrades the quality of their life, and just don't do that. And recognize that this is not the way to live. And then go listen to a podcast with some positive people and say, look at this guy. This guy's out there eating healthy, doing good things. He lost 15 pounds.
Yeah.
She went running and decided to start doing marathons, and he did this, and this guy's building a fucking house. Like, you can find a lot of positive examples of people online today.
That's one of the reasons why I'm so drawn to ultra running. I mean, because whether you like running or not, the people that do that are some great positive people. I mean,
they're savages.
Oh, but they're also, you get so used to winning those many battles in a long run, and you have to, and you get strength from each other. So at the finish line or during the race, is you can get a bond. There's a saying, you know, he who sheds his blood with me will be my brother. And it's like, it's not, that's probably derived from war, and I get that. And it's not like a war or anything like that, but it's going through a mini battle. And when you do that with somebody and you share that experience, you get that connection. And it's like, and it's why, even though I don't know Courtney that well, I know what she does, and I really look up to her ability to just be a beast. And that whole environment, the ultra running environment and community is empowering for me, for sure. And that's why I love even just being around people like that. It just makes you better.
Well, they're exceptional.
Yeah. Those
are exceptional people. They have an exceptional mind. To be able to endure something like a 238-mile race through the Moab desert, you got to be something special.
Yeah.
There's a little thing in the back of your head that says, why don't you just sit down? Why don't you just quit? Enough's enough. We already ran 5 miles.
Yeah.
We already ran. That's enough, man. You ran a marathon. That is enough. You ran 2 marathons. You sit the fuck down. We just sit the fuck down and take a nap. But you have to be able to shut that off, and most people can't shut that off. They just can't, you know?
It's tough. It's amazing. I mean, my brother was with me on that last one, and it's weird to share an experience like that with somebody, because you can be similar, but in the course of something like 3 days like that, you're in low points at different times. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so it's really hard. It's really hard to win each of those battles, because at one time when you might, I don't know, it's just, it seems like that'd be easier, and I think in some respects it is, but it's tough. It's tough all the way around. So
when you're going through a 3-day, 238-mile run, does it gets bad at certain times where you just feel like shit.
Yeah.
And then if you keep going, it gets better. And then it gets bad again.
Yeah.
And then it gets better again.
Oh yeah. You're up and down the whole time.
But you know that if you keep going, even when you feel like dog shit, you'll eventually break through and start feeling okay again.
I don't know. There's no guarantee.
There's no guarantee.
No, there's no guarantee. You hope.
Have you ever gone through a whole long race and felt like dog shit the entire time?
Yeah.
Which one of those?
Well, like the 24-hour run, you know, because that's usually like my first tough one of the year. It's in June, so I haven't really
prepared for it enough.
No, because I'm always after spring bear,
and
I haven't been training because I've been up in bear camp and doing whatever. So that's always one where I know I'm just pretty much going to be miserable the whole time. There's going to be no light at the end of the tunnel other than when the 24 hours is up. So that one I know I'm just going to have to grind it out. And that's where I'm like, this is one day out of my life.
Just do it.
I'm just going to be miserable. You know, on Moab, that one started off and I felt terrible right out of I was like, we were, God, I want to think like 19 or maybe 15 miles in, something like that, at an aid station. I'm going, this is not good.
15 miles in?
Yes.
What's crazy is you were running a marathon a day.
Yeah, yeah.
So why was 15 miles so bad?
I don't know. There's sometimes when do you ever go on a run and your legs just feel heavy?
Yeah.
And you just don't feel good?
Yeah.
So
that's what it was.
I was like, I wanted to be fresh and I wanted to feel light on my feet and I wanted to get out there, and I was like, it's not a good sign when I didn't, because, you know, we just essentially started the race and it was hot and I had run out of water already one time, and my legs felt heavy, and so it wasn't looking good. And then Courtney was way out ahead, and you know, they're saying, I didn't really know who she was at that time. So me and my brother Taylor, we were thinking, well, in the 70s would win the race. So I thought, well, I want to go out and aim for finishing in the 70s. And
when you say 70s, what do you mean? 70 hours?
Hours, yeah. So I figured, because what usually won Bigfoot was high 60s.
And Bigfoot's 205?
205. And so this is, you know, close to 35 miles further. So we just figured, well, probably 70s is going to get it done. And so she went out, and there's a couple other guys with her, I think. And they went out pretty hard. And, you know, there's updates on where they were. And I didn't know at that time she was the American record holder for the 24-hour run. She'd run 160 miles, I think, in 24 hours.
Jesus Christ.
And so I was like, oh, well, they just went too fast, you know, because I'd done that before, and like a Bigfoot the year before. And I thought, well, they'll come back, you know, so meaning
it'll balance out.
We'd catch up or they'd come back. And I think the guys with her ended up dropping off a little bit, and then she never came back. She just...
Well, one of them dropped out totally. He tried to keep up with her, and he couldn't, and he wound up dropping out totally. She's a monster, and she's eating nachos and candy. That's what's crazy. Drinking beer.
Well...
All these people are on, like, all these diets and watching their macronutrients. And
no, but I did want to say that is because I listened to you talk to her about that, and... Excuse me. I've seen a lot of comments about that, but what you got to keep in mind is her training.
Yeah.
So you can't say, well, I run 15 miles a week and I'm going to eat nachos and beer.
Right.
So she's running 120 miles a week probably. You can eat pretty much whatever you want.
Right.
So,
well, I get that, but it's also like I was asking her about like the nutritional content of her food. Like, are you really monitoring how much protein you get versus phytonutrients and minerals and
No.
Just gutting it out.
She probably just needs calories.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't even matter how she gets them. Just needs calories to sustain herself.
But I would just think for just the cells of your body, you would need more nutrients. I mean, who knows? She's obviously a fucking savage.
Yeah.
But who knows if she really monitored her diet and ate super healthy, she might be better.
Maybe.
Which is just terrifying.
Maybe. Yeah, she's amazing.
She's so normal too.
Yeah.
And you hang out with her, like when she did the podcast, she's just fun and laughing. Like you would never imagine that she is this like elite ultra marathon runner. I would think you'd have to be like super stoic and intense and
and when you see her, she's wearing like, it looks like basketball shorts.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
big shorts.
Yep.
It's not like, you know, you see some of these track athletes and they got the tight little shorts on and the singlet, and they're like, you know, she's just like with a kind of a baggy shirt and baggy shorts and then just crushing people.
Crazy.
Yeah, but
I love that though. I love outliers. I love people that come along that don't make any sense. They're like, what the fuck? Like that she's so much better than everybody else. She won that 238-mile race by 22 miles?
Something like that, yeah.
22 miles ahead of the second place winner.
Yeah. And the guy who got second is a stud.
Fucking animal.
A stud.
Guy's an animal.
Yeah.
And she was 22 miles ahead of him.
I know.
Imagine getting whooped, not just whooped, but whooped 22 miles ahead by someone who's eating nachos and drinking beer and eating candy. I just love that. I love someone who doesn't make any sense, who's just so much better. Yeah. And it's just like, wow. We gotta fucking throw a monkey wrench into this whole idea.
The only thing I got on anybody is, can they pack out an elk?
Nah, you got that on them. Yeah, no, if that was the race, you'd fuck them all up.
But what I like about her also is I flew home the other day. I can't remember where it was from, but I flew over. Like there's some in the Cascades of Oregon. There's a Middle Sister, North Sister, South Sister, and then Bachelors where everybody goes and skis, and then Broken Top's right there. So I filmed it, and I'm like, I tagged my brother Taylor, and I'm like, hey, can we knock off all 5 of these peaks in 24 hours? And it would be, I mean, it would be a test, you know. And she commented and said she'd join us.
Wow.
She wants to come do it. So I mean, I just love that. I don't even. She's amazing, but that type of. I mean, I guess that kind of goes hand in hand with the eating whatever you want is also doing whatever you want.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of these elite athletes, they would be like, have a schedule of races and my training and this and that. And I you know, whatever. I like that would just say, yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
And it's not a race. It's just, we're just having fun.
Yeah.
Or just a test. It's an unofficial test. And for her to want to join in, that's probably what I love the most about her. And
are there established trails that you guys could run over all those peaks?
We did the South Sister and the Middle Sister last year, and now it's getting off the South Sister towards the Middle Sister is sketchy. There's no trails, no.
Oh, so you're just running through the woods?
It's on the side. There's no trees. It's on the side of the mountain, so it's like shale and.
Even more sketchy.
Yeah.
I'd rather run over trees.
Yeah.
Sort of.
No, you would, because, you know, if there's trees there, there's solid ground there.
Right.
You know, so with the rocks up there, you don't know what's going to happen.
But you got to be stepping over shit if there's trees there. You might run into a bunch of places where all the trees have fallen down.
Generally, yeah. I mean, there can be windfall in there, but generally you can get on an animal trail and find your way through, you know. But when it's just rocks, that's probably the most sketchy. Because just because there's you know, I don't know, 1,000-pound rock sitting there, it could just be balanced perfectly. You might step on it. That could be. There's no guarantee that those rocks are staying there. You know, falls all the time. So that's with rocks in that type of country, super steep. It's part of it.
It's fascinating to me that is the appeal of sheep hunting to a lot of people, is that it's so incredibly dangerous. That being up in those high peaks and stepping on shale and like on these crazy peaks where to the left is just a steep drop off. To the right is a steep drop off. You have a very narrow place to navigate.
Yeah, it's you know, sheep hunting. They say it's not the animal that's the most wary. It's just the country that makes it so. I mean, they're expensive, the hunts, but it's just where they.
To that,
it's just where they live is the draw.
Yeah,
you know, they. I think with the bow, definitely a tough animal. With a rifle, mostly it's just kind of getting in. If you can get your body within range, you know, you can usually get one done. But it's just where they live.
Yeah, when Ben O'Brien and Greentree were hunting tar.
Yeah,
it was a similar thing in New Zealand. They're in these crazy peaks and super dangerous, sketchy territory. And people, it's fascinating to me how people get addicted to incredibly difficult things. They do it. They say, "Fuck, I'm never doing this again. God, this is terrible." And then they get back, and a couple weeks later, they're like, "Shit, I want to go back."
Yeah, it's God, I don't know what type of analogy to make, but you know, when you've done, say, maybe ultras or marathons, it's really hard to get excited for a 5K. You know what I mean?
When you do your keep hammering 5K, how boring is that for you?
To me, that's more about the people then.
Right.
Yeah, it's not for me. I'm not. You know, whatever.
That stupid race is the reason why I started running. I couldn't believe how hard it was to do with zero running, folks. Zero. I ran 0, and then I ran a 5K.
Yeah.
And at the end of that, I was like, okay, I got to start running. Shit.
Yeah, and it feels great now, right?
It does. It does.
There's nothing that feels better to me than being able to run. I mean,
you know what's crazy is my endurance for kickboxing is way better.
Yeah.
I mean, way better. Way better. Like, I could do a hard 3-minute round, no problem.
Yeah. And
it's just from running these fucking hills. It just changes your lung capacity.
Yeah, your lungs just expand and contract, and you just used to getting more oxygen in there, I guess, huh?
Yeah. Well, it's those you've seen those trails that I'm running on too. They're so steep. It's so much of it is just pushing. It's like you're sprinting up these hills.
Yeah.
And your body's just used to those bursts, you know? And so now when I go crazy on the heavy bag, like boom, and then the bell will go off, and I'm like, oh,
go good.
It's crazy. It's like it's amazing.
And it does so much for your legs too.
Oh yeah.
You know, people always ask, you know, what I do for legs, and it's like I just run mountains. I mean, and it's, you know.
Yeah, there was a famous kickboxer from Montreal. His name was Jean-Yves Thériault. He was like the most scary kickboxer in the world in the PKA karate days. And all he did was he would run stairs. Like that was the big workout that he wrote a book on training and you know, what it takes to be a world champion. And one of the things that he was saying is you got to run stairs. He's like, running stairs has like been the best thing for his kicking power, for his endurance, and I remember thinking that. And he was talking about how it just put inches on his thighs, and it radically increased his lung capacity and kicking power.
Speaking of endurance, I don't know if we were, but I will, but Francis Ngannou, he got gassed out.
He did. Well, he tried to take Stipe out in the first round. That was his thought, was that Stipe's not going to be able to survive.
When it didn't happen, it's not good.
He's fucked. Yeah, and he doesn't know how to wrestle that well. He doesn't have a long background in martial arts at all. And Stipe was a very good college wrestler, and obviously a bad motherfucker. You know,
God,
he took some hard shots too.
He did.
You know, that's the thing about Stipe. It's not just that he knows how to fight. He's just fucking tough. It's just, there's a bunch of shit going on there. It's experience. It's just sheer toughness and grit and determination. And he knows how to ride out bad moments. Like Francis had never had a bad moment.
Right.
He didn't know what the fuck to do.
I think most people, I know you didn't, but I think most people had kind of assumed, oh, Francis is going to win this fight.
I thought it's very possible Francis could win the fight. I thought it was very possible that Francis could just nuke him in the first round. He's just so scary.
Yeah. Yeah, it just takes one.
No, I've never seen anyone in all of my history of watching MMA that's so terrifying with one punch.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's just punching too. His kicks are, you know, they're okay.
Yeah.
But he's not like, you know, he's not Edson Barboza or someone who could put you to sleep with one kick. He's not kicking people. He's just moving towards you, throwing a few kicks maybe. But what he's trying to do is hit you with those giant fucking canned hams that he calls fists.
And even when he was so gassed he could barely do anything, I was thinking, oh, just take still one big tired heavy arm could do it.
Oh yeah, 100%. That guy still has unbelievable potential if he could get it together. But what he needs to do, and this is critical, he needs to work on his ground game, needs to work on his wrestling, and he needs to be with a real top flight MMA camp.
Yeah. Who trains him now?
He trains with the guy who found him. I forget the gentleman's name, but the guy's done an amazing job of building his skills up. You know, in 5 years. And the thing is, Francis is so goddamn good that most people he spars with, most people he fights with are fucked.
Yeah.
But he runs into the top of the food chain. A guy like Stipe can avoid all the dangerous stuff, drag him into deep water, get him diminished, diminish his endurance and his ability, and then overwhelm him, which is what Stipe did.
Yeah.
But Francis can learn from that. He can learn from that. He can learn from that, and he can get better at all those areas that he had problems with.
So tired.
Yeah, but he can get the endurance is something you can work on. You can work on all those things. I just don't know how. I'm sure he worked hard. I'm absolutely sure. But I don't know how hard he was pushed.
Right.
So there's a difference between working hard and being pushed.
Right.
Like if he's training with a guy like Cain Velasquez, for instance, primetime Cain Velasquez. If Cain's in his prime, Cain's taking him down left and right. He's going to try to have to get up all the time. He's doing rounds with Cain. You're going through hell. You're going through 5 minutes of hell. And when that bell goes off to end the 5 minutes of hell, you're just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
You know, you watch the training camps with Daniel Cormier and Luke Rockhold and Cain Velasquez, some of the footage. There's a reason why those guys are so goddamn good, because iron sharpens iron.
That's right.
Those guys are in there world champions going at it with each other on a daily basis. And because of that, that's what turned them into those fucking monsters that they are today.
Yeah.
Francis is just a physical freak.
Yeah.
But if he was in that camp, holy shit.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. It'd be amazing to see what he could do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The problem is sparring with that guy.
Yeah.
Like if Francis spars the way they spar, because DC...
Yeah, because they go hard, don't they?
They go a little hard.
Isn't that kind of maybe too hard?
That's the argument.
Yeah.
There's two arguments. There's one argument is that going through that is why they're so successful in world championship fights. That they know what the fire feels like.
Yeah.
The other thing is that they're also they get injured a lot.
Yeah.
That camp gets injured a lot. But it's also they're so fucking good. Look who they got. Habib Nurmagomedov, Luke Rockhold, Daniel Cormier, Cain motherfucking Velasquez. It's not, you can't argue with that.
Yeah.
One camp in San Jose
has
some of the best fighters that have ever done the sport.
Yeah.
Then on top of that, Josh Thompson. You know, they had Josh Koscheck for a while, and he was at the top of his game. Yeah. Some fucking killers have come from AKA.
Yeah.
So you could look at it two ways. You could say, one, they're beating each other up too much, or two, that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do to be a world champion.
Yeah. It's hard to say. I mean,
I was still, to this day, when Cain was in his prime, I never saw a heavyweight like that before, ever.
Yeah.
The fucking endurance that guy had was off the charts.
For a big guy.
It's not like nothing. You would see guys just be overwhelmed. They couldn't imagine how the fuck he could do this. Like, where's he getting? And the second round would come around, they'd have this look in their face, and Cain would just be like he just woke up. Like he's not even started to really sweat yet.
Yeah.
And then he'd beat the shit out of him for the second round, beat the shit out of him for the third. They would just wilt under the pressure.
Yeah, you see those fights where, I mean, not him, but I mean, even now where it's just an onslaught. And you're just like, man, you feel bad for, well, that who was that the other night? Shevchenko. Did you see that fight?
Jesus Christ.
My God. I was like, can this fight get over? Because
they should have stopped that fight a long time ago.
It was brutal.
That fight should have been stopped 15 or 20 times.
Oh my God, it was brutal.
Yeah, Mario Yamasaki said he gave her the opportunity to be a warrior. That's what he said. That was his take on it.
Oh man.
I mean,
she was getting beat up.
Not just beat up. Did you see the stats? The actual physical striking stats? The significant strikes.
Did she land any?
One.
Okay.
And Valentina, she landed one, like, I think it was some unbelievably overwhelming number, like 1 versus several hundred.
Yeah.
In the significant strike department. Like, literally, she might landed one pretty decent punch.
Shevchenko's, she looked like a guy up there with the big hard elbows, you know, coming down. I mean, just power.
Looked like a guy. Sexist much?
No,
Someone's a fucking sexist. Did you notice that, Jamie? Well, Jesus. She's world champion Muay Thai kickboxer.
Well,
she looks like a world champion woman. You son of a bitch.
Jeez. I'm getting read the riot act over here.
You got to be careful these days. People turn on you.
I hate that. You know, I hate that. That really irritates me. I think I'm going to.
Yeah. Why is it wrong to say she looks like a guy?
I don't know.
She's a woman, you son of a bitch. That's why.
Well, I was just talking more about the power.
Oh,
you know, you just don't see women, you know,
Jesus, look at the strikes. 95-2.
Oh. But you just don't see women like coming down hard like that. Have you before?
Yeah. Kat Zingano. Kat Zingano can do that.
Well, it's just rare.
Yeah, it's rare.
When they're on that top position and just raining hard, it's just like, I just haven't seen it that often.
No, there's not a lot of women that can throw down like that. And Valentina is one of the most well-rounded women in the sport. She subbed Juliana Pena off her back. She stands up and outstrikes Holly Holm. Yeah. She went toe-to-toe with Amanda Nunes. She went toe-to-toe with some of the best kickboxers in the world. She's a world champion Muay Thai fighter. I mean, she's just a fucking beast, man.
Yeah.
She's an all-around just badass fighter.
There was an argument that she won that for the championship
against Nunes.
Yeah,
super close fight. I didn't think it was a bad decision, but I thought it was a very close fight.
Yeah,
so it's hard, you know, and it's hard for me calling fights because when I'm calling them, I'm just looking at what's happening. I'm trying to talk, but I'm not scoring it.
Right.
You know, I don't score. If you score it, you got to keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
You should have a piece of paper in front of you, and you know Eddie Bravo used to do it for the UFC. He used to score in between rounds, and he had a great system where he would put a line down the center of a paper, and it'd be like one opponent on the left side and the other one on the right side, and then he would write down like kicks, takedowns, submission attempts, and all that stuff, and then defense. Those are little categories, and they would put check marks next to one, and then he would go over why he thought someone won and what kind of score he gave. He had a very good system.
Yeah.
And I think that's the only way to fairly judge a fight.
Right, when you're calling it,
it's like Valentina Shevchenko's fight, where you just go like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
like I gave her like 10-2. I mean, it was so overwhelming. I mean, a 10-8 round is a disgrace. It's like a 10-6, or if you gave her just a 10-8, you'd be like, "Who the fuck are you? What kind of shit judge are you?"
Oh my god, that was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, it was a bad matchup because that girl was I believe that was her UFC debut. So to have a UFC debut against a woman who's fought for the title against a world-class striker. I mean, literally one of the very best strikers on the planet Earth, male or female.
Yeah. And
just it's not fair, you know.
That was her first fight at 125, wasn't it?
Valentina's, yes. Yeah. Well, Valentina fought Joanna Jędrzejczyk in Muay Thai.
Oh,
and
so
she beat her. I think they fought more than once. But I believe Valentina beat her. I hope I'm not wrong, because I'm wrong a lot.
I'm excited for that Rose.
Namajunas and Joanna Jędrzejczyk rematch. Yeah. Well, you know, Rose trains with Valentina.
Oh, okay.
That's her main sparring partner.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
And that's a good camp then. Just having those two there to work off each other.
Woo! Yeah. It's phenomenal for Rose and for Valentina. I mean,
well, it's going to be tough for Rose to come now as the champion. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if it changes at all.
Yeah, it will definitely be interesting. And coming into this fight was fascinating to me. Even though Rose won by first round knockout, she's the underdog.
Yeah, well, I put up that clip of when she was like saying the Lord's Prayer there when you were up there and you were talking about how it was terrifying or something like that. I put up that little clip. That was crazy.
It's
from you guys. Yeah, before. on fight night before the fight, you guys were standing there and they were showing that from the weigh-in, and oh my God, that was classic.
Yeah, she was so in the zone that Joanna was talking shit to her. I'm going to fuck you up. I'm going to fuck up your pretty face. I'm the boogie woman. She's talking all this crazy shit to her, and Rose is just going, "Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done." And she was like in this zone where Joanna put her fist on her nose and she didn't even flinch.
That was the only one, and I said, because they had something up about Fighter of the Year, I think, but that was, I get fired up for all the fights, but that was the only fight that I was standing up, like I was, because I'm watching it at home, and I'm just like, oh my God, you know, and because she was landing that hard punches, and it was, I don't know, it's amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Amazing.
A lot of people thought she had a chance by submission because Ama Yunus is a really good submission artist, and she's really fast. Like, she'll throw up flying arm bars and shit. She's wild. Yeah. She takes crazy chances. Yeah. But for her to win by KO like that, it was like, holy shit.
I know it. I know it. I was so pumped.
When Daniel Cormier just starts yelling out, "Thug Rose!"
Yeah. Oh my God.
Thug Rose!
That
amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite moments of doing commentary, of just being next to him while he was just yelling that out, because it was just pure excitement and appreciation and joy. You know, he's just having a good time.
Does he know her then too, or do they?
I mean, they all know each other.
Oh,
I mean, I don't know how well he knows her.
Not training together.
No, I don't believe so.
Yeah, or not the same camp.
I mean, maybe she's done some training at AKA. I'm not aware, but she's in Colorado. She's with Trevor Whitman. And her boyfriend, Pat Barry, who's a world-class kickboxer, who's a really good MMA fighter as well. When
I remember him.
Fighting in the UFC, he had some wild-ass fights. He's a serious striker. Pat Barry can fucking crack.
I remember. I mean, I thought he was fighting, let's see, who was that? And it's like, I thought he was knocked out basically and then landed one big one, or maybe it's the other way around.
The other way around, yeah. He was fighting Chet Congo, and he had Chet Congo completely out of it.
Yes.
And he just went in for broke, and Chet Congo caught him with a crazy punch and KO'd him.
Yeah, that was it.
Woo.
I remember that fight.
That was nuts. Yeah. That was nuts. But that's just how Pat fights. He's a wild man. You know? He just fights wild.
Yeah, he was, I remember he was like thick and could punch.
Yeah, he's a tank.
Yeah.
Ruthless leg kicks. He's got some of the best leg kicks I've ever seen in the heavyweight division.
Those leg kicks. You know, I just heard you talk about it the other day, but those low leg kicks are a new thing nowadays.
Yeah. Well, Benson Henderson started doing that a long time ago. He was one of the first guys to introduce it to MMA. But he had some success with it, but not like you're seeing today. Like, you're seeing guys getting debilitated like really quickly.
That must be a new. So it's a weak spot on humans, I guess.
Well,
a hard.
There's a lot of things that Muay Thai fighters known about forever that MMA fighters are just starting to figure out.
Okay.
The same as with kickboxing and karate. There's a lot of karate moves that MMA fighters are not good at, but karate guys are. And karate guys come into MMA like Stephen Thompson, Wonder Boy. Yeah. When Wonder Boy keep saying Tompkins because of Sean Tompkins, but Wonder Boy is doing things from a sideways karate stance that a lot of people just don't know how to handle. Like, Wonder Boy has these crazy front leg side kicks and front leg roundhouse kicks. Like, if you ever watch his fight with Johnny Hendricks, it's one of the best examples. He hits Johnny Hendricks in the gut with a side kick, and then Johnny Hendricks is still there, so he roundhouse kicks him in the face with the same leg. And you see Johnny's like, what in the fuck? Because it's just something like, he didn't see that in training.
Yeah.
You don't
can't
know a lot of
simulate
guys.
that.
You have to get a really good karate guy.
Yeah.
And most really good karate guys, he's just going to be able to take them down.
Yeah.
But, you know, Wonder Boy's just got that style just dialed in and nailed.
Yeah.
And he moves like a snake from the waist. Like, he moves backwards from the waist. Like, he gets away from shit and then fires back at you.
He looked good in that last fight.
Yeah, against Jorge Masvidal.
Yeah.
So that's a different style. And so these techniques, like, he's exceptionally good at those karate techniques. And a lot of people aren't. And so with Muay Thai, most of the time when guys were learning Muay Thai and bringing it into MMA, they were doing a few things. They were throwing the leg kicks, they were throwing the knees to the body, the elbows, normal Muay Thai techniques.
Yeah.
But they were missing some of the subtleties. So some of the better Muay Thai fighters started training with some of the better MMA fighters, and then slowly but surely those techniques started leaking in.
I see.
And then the big one now is that low leg kick.
Yeah.
That low leg kick is a motherfucker, man. It just takes out, you can't condition your lower leg.
That's what I'm saying. It feels like it's a week's, I mean, because I know Michael Chandler, he got caught with that, and that's how he lost the belt.
Yeah, it killed the nerves in his leg.
Yeah, and it's like, it looked like his leg was broke.
Yeah.
I mean, his ankle was flopping all around. You'd swear that leg was broke. And it must have just been those low leg kicks down there and just deaden the nerve.
Yeah,
Turned it off.
It's amazing. It's amazing how many fighters, like Gilbert Melendez, when he fought Jeremy Stevens. Jeremy Stevens cracked him real early in the first round with that low leg kick, and you see it immediately swelling up. And then Gilbert's just falling down on it. He just can't stand up on it. It's crazy.
Yeah. Crazy.
Douglas Lima and Rory McDonald. Rory McDonald in Bellator, right into the same thing, right into the lower leg. He had a giant hematoma. It was fucking huge and swollen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a devastating technique.
Yeah. Well,
it's interesting. I just love that. I love when new elements get brought into this very complex sport.
Yeah. I mean, and that's like, that's just been a new one for sure. But this Saturday, are you going to be at the Keep Hammering run?
This Saturday is the Keep Hammering run?
Yeah.
Where?
Salt Lake.
I didn't know there was one. No, I'm going to be here.
No, remember that you went to that show.
Yeah, I did go to that show. I went to that show by accident.
The Western Hunting Expo. So
I was in town skiing, which I fucking hate.
Yeah.
I don't hate skiing, but I'm not a fan. It's just boring.
You just dislike it a lot.
I just don't get it. Every time I do it, I'm like, maybe this time I'm going to get it. This is going to be the day where I'm going to be in bliss. I'm going to slide down that mountain. People are like, oh, it's because you're not good at it. I did it for 5 years. I got pretty good at it. I didn't get good at it. Like, I couldn't enter a skiing competition, but I don't fall down anymore. I know how to stop. I know how to ski.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. So I was there, and then I was like, what? There's a hunting expo?
Yeah.
And I fucking snuck away for a day. I had a great time with you. I was like, this is so much better.
Yeah. So that's this weekend, that show.
Oh, and you have a Keep Hammering run in Utah?
Yeah.
Where's it at?
It's, if it's the same place as last year, it's just right. I mean, we start at the Capitol there in Salt Lake, Capitol building, and then you run a 5K from there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's Saturday morning. Should be fun.
I'm a big fan of Salt Lake. I love that town.
Me too.
It's fucking great.
Yeah, me too.
Nice people, man.
Oh, I know.
They're so nice.
The best.
I mean, I know that it's weird. There's a lot of Mormons there. I know people get weirded out by Mormons. They're the nicest people. They're so nice.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care what wacky shit you believe, as long as you're nice.
That's it. Yeah, just be nice. That's it.
Yeah.
So that's, I'm excited. It's going to be, I think we're hoping to have, God, I want to think, we had a few hundred last year. So,
really?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's going to be, and then we'll do that Saturday, and then we'll be back in September elk hunting.
Ooh.
Do you remember that? Remember elk hunting in Utah?
I do. We only got to 470,000 views. We're going to do a podcast when we get to 500,000. What's it at right now, Jamie? Go to the UA Hunt YouTube page.
We might have to cancel this.
Son of a bitch.
We'll
we were hoping to do a podcast when it hit 500,000, but it petered out.
It did.
Petered out at about
471, 270.
Ooh, so we got 1,000 today. So we just need a few more days. We're good. By the end of the month.
Close enough.
Yeah, we're getting close. We'll hit it by the end of the month.
Hey, and then also this weekend, the Secretary of the Interior, Zinke, on Friday is going to announce a big. I think it's a big win for conservationists, and we're going to protect the winter migration routes for deer and elk from development. So that's been a big thing that. You know, like that. I told him when I met with them back in Vegas, I don't know when it was, a couple of weeks ago, that it feels like we've taken some hits as sportsmen as far as the national monuments being shrunk, you know, and you can argue that both ways. Drilling on the coast, you know, a lot of people don't like the prospects of that. So I'm like, man, we could use a win, and brought up the winter migration routes and protecting those from any development, just so those animals can get down and get to the winter range when food's hard to come by. And so that's going to be announced on Friday that he's going to make that happen. That's
awesome. And now you have a position there as well. Like what is your official position?
I'm on the International Wildlife Conservation Council, which doesn't have anything to do with North America, but I'm just kind of using that as an excuse to talk about North America.
It doesn't have anything to do with North America?
No.
What does it have to do with?
Well, that's about like the trophy export ban from Africa.
Oh.
So international hunting, basically. And so it's weighing in on that, because
so like if you go to Australia and you shoot some animals, you can't bring the meat back.
Well, yeah, but is
that different?
Yeah, it's different. Well, that doesn't have anything to do with what's going on right now. It's Africa, and like with elephants coming back. So when you can't bring your trophy back, who's going to want to go shoot? Not just elephants, because elephants are a whole different category, but who's going to go want to shoot
a gazelle?
Well, if you can't bring it back,
an eland, yeah,
right. I don't know if those are regulated, but it's mostly elephants, and
and lions,
lions. Yeah.
Didn't they reversed it? And then Trump said, fuck that. Like, Trump doesn't like it, which is fascinating because his sons are big hunters.
Right.
Like, he called it a horror show.
He did. And that's what got my attention, is because he said that he doesn't see how conservation helps elephants, which, okay, that's one thing. But then he said, or any other animals. And I'm like, wait a second. Okay, we can't say hunting as a conservation tool doesn't help any other animals, because we've proven here in North America it's the model that works. So I didn't like how he worded that and lumped that all in together. And I'm like, was that just a poorly worded tweet? What's going on here? So then he said he was going to look at that ban regarding elephants, because if there's no value on the animals, we know what happens. And if there is no hunting, it's pretty much the death sentence of the animal.
Well, we'd probably have to explain that to a lot of people that don't know what we're talking about, but Africa, there's a lot of animals in Africa that were on the verge of extinction just a few decades ago. And what they did was, it's a very controversial thing, especially to people that don't hunt, but what they did was they created a lot of these game preserves where they had these animals, and they had a financial interest in keeping these animals alive because people paid a lot of money to come over there and hunt them. So now these animals that were on the verge of extinction just a couple of decades ago are thriving in record numbers, but they get hunted.
Yeah.
So for people that are concerned about the welfare of these animals, and they're wildlife lovers, they're in a weird predicament, because it's hunting that's keeping these animals alive. And it seems like a contradiction. Like, how could hunting be conservation?
Right.
But even in this country, 11% taxes on bullets, on hunting equipment, on all the different things that people buy. And this was a self-imposed tax that sportsmen put on the purchase of these goods so that it would go towards wildlife. And billions of dollars have gone to preserving wetlands, preserving wildlife habitat, reestablishing populations of animals in all these different areas where they're diminished.
Right.
It's like the amount of money that has gone towards conservation from hunters versus from PETA or the Humane Society or any other welfare group, it's not even remotely comparable.
No. Hunters are making the difference, and we put our money where our mouth is. We say we care about it. We pay for it. We put money there to help conservation, and pay for the biologists, and pay for the studies, and pay for habitat enhancement. And so that essentially is the same thing that needs to happen in Africa. But it's weird to say, well, how can the United States regulate what happens in Africa? Because we can't really.
Right.
But we can say, we're not going to allow the trophies to come home. So that pretty much stops the hunting in Africa. So yeah, we're not saying you can or can't hunt. You can still go do it. You just can't bring them home, which essentially stops the hunting. Without hunting, those animals don't have value. And no matter how you want to slice it or phrase it or whatever you want, if they don't have value, they're not going. It's going to be the detriment of the animal, of the species. Kenya, they stopped hunting in 1973. And 70% of the animals are gone. with no hunting.
Yeah, it's very confusing. It seems contradictory.
It does, and it's like I talked with Zinke about this also, and so that's what this council is about, to try to make a good decision on how best to regulate the trophies coming home, and maybe we can help promote hunting and how to do it right, and what it means as a council. So I'm involved in that. I used that opportunity to talk to him about other things too, but so I don't know where it's all gonna lead.
It's a fascinating subject because elephants are endangered in some parts of Africa, but Africa is an enormous place.
Yeah.
And in other parts of Africa, they have a problem with elephants.
Yeah.
So going to those places and shooting elephants to most people is a horrific offense.
Yeah.
So, but the problem is I don't see the amount of money that someone has to pay to go and shoot an elephant. It's a crazy amount of money.
$75,000.
That's a lot of fucking money. How many people are spending $75,000 to go look at them or help them?
They're not going to.
They're not going to.
No. And when you say, well, that money could come from photo safaris, no. Nope. And also with the
no one's going to pay $75,000 to take
a picture. And for a photo safari, where they have them set up is that they go on pretty much the same route. So the habitat just gets hammered. I mean, you know what a national monument or a national park here, the most popular places, you know what those look like.
Yeah.
It's a freaking dump. So when you have those photo safaris that go on the same track, basically you're hammering the habitat. You're not getting back to the back reaches where the poachers are killing the animals. You know, that's still happening back there. And then to get a pride of lion in to where you can take pictures of it, they're still going out and shooting zebras and impala and different things, buffalo, throwing them out there so the lions are there eating. So there's still animals dying, but there's just the animals aren't benefiting from it. So when you think of, like in the bush of Africa, if a farmer there has a crop and there's elephants getting in there thrashing his crop, the elephant has no value to him. What has value is the crop. And if the elephant's in there trampling it, he just wants an elephant dead, wants it gone. So he's going to shoot it. It's going to lay there. It's not going to benefit anybody, but his crop grows. And that's what happens.
It's just very hard for people to look at it that way because they look at it like, no, I don't want an elephant to die. And no, I don't want a lion to die. No, I don't want a zebra to die. And no, I don't want a giraffe to die.
And
but
what
you can go ahead and
do,
shoot that other thing, that warthog, that ugly thing.
Yeah.
Nobody gives a fuck about warthogs.
No.
You can shoot warthogs and smile and take a picture, and people are racist. They're racist against certain animals.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
That's a fact.
Is it racism?
Racism.
Okay.
Race of speciesism.
Are you a speciesist?
I am.
I sent you a video about that.
I'm a speciesist. That's a fact.
But
I like people way more than I like goldfish.
And with regard to lions, you know, so if lions are coming in and killing the goats or whatever that say in Tanzania that they're raising, they're just going to there'll be a dead goat. They'll put poison in it. The pride will come in, eat it. They'll go die. Then no more goats are getting killed.
Yeah.
All those lions are dead.
Well, that was one of the things about Zimbabwe, right? Was it Zimbabwe where that guy killed that lion, the Cecil?
Oh, I think so, yeah.
That place, they had to kill a bunch of lions because people stopped lion hunting there.
Yeah.
And so because they stopped lion hunting there, they had this excess of lions, and they were destroying the ungulate population, so they had to go in and just slaughter these lions.
Yeah.
So the $50,000 per lion that they would have made that would have gone towards all sorts of different things, protection of the habitat, the different conservation officers that work in that area. Instead, there's no money, and then they actually have to hire someone to go and do that job.
Right.
And this is the argument about British Columbia as well, that this is exactly what's going to happen up there. That the argument that you're getting from the people that are in the field, that are out there every day, is that what's going to happen is you're going to have a bunch of problem bears. They're going to have to hire people to go after these problem bears, and it's incredibly expensive and very, very dangerous.
Yeah. And the bears are still going to die.
Yeah.
So that's still going to happen.
Some of them are still going to die.
Yeah.
But animals are going to die. You know, I mean, do you get mad when a bear kills an antelope or when a bear kills a giraffe? Or,
right.
Well, they don't really. They're not over there. But if they were over here, you know, if a bear kills a moose, are you upset? Or are you only upset when a person kills a moose?
Yeah, right. And, you know, in Africa, too, so those animals are dying. And when it's hunters that are doing it, numbers are very controlled. The harvest is very controlled. You can take X amount of animals out, and this money will go towards, you know, this enhancement of a water hole, this paying for the anti-poaching unit, which when I was over there was $1,000 a day to pay for guys to come in to control, keep the poachers out of there. Without that money, none of that's happening. So there, instead of having a very regulated harvest number, the poachers will kill however many.
Yeah.
You know,
and let's be honest about it. The vast majority of the money is going towards whatever lodge or the owners of that, area.
But they're also hiring people.
They are hiring people, but they have a financial incentive to keep these animals alive. It's very problematic for a lot of people. They don't like to hear it. And I've read this article, this ridiculous article that said that that's not true, that trophy hunting is not what sustains these animals, and you know, you can get just as much from a safari. Like, that's not true. No. What you're saying is not true. That CNN thing handled it pretty well.
Did you watch that trophy?
Yeah. What did you think about that?
No, a
lot of hunters said some stupid shit.
Yeah, I didn't. God, you know, I mean, we talked about this earlier in the podcast. You know, when people say, "Oh, you just want to go kill stuff and this and that," I didn't really like when whoever the hunter was, I don't know, probably a nice guy, but he shot a crocodile and he says, "Yeah, mother effer." Yeah. I'm like, what is going on there? I've never done anything like that, and that isn't like the honorable hunter that I know, you know, so that seemed a little weird.
I don't like crocodiles. I might say, yeah, motherfucker, if I shot a crocodile. Crocodiles scare the shit out of me. Yeah, they are the one thing that scares me more than pretty much any animal on the planet.
Yeah, I know. I still feel a lot of respect for the animal.
I'm joking around mostly.
No, I know.
Mostly,
I know, yeah, but it just seemed like a weird reaction to me.
Well, especially knowing that the world is going to see that reaction.
Yeah.
I mean, if he was just by himself and he said that and that was an honest reaction and he was still had respect for the animal and it was just the fact that he pulled it off.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate it's unfortunate to broadcast that for the world to see.
Yeah. I thought it could have been a lot worse with regard to how hunters were portrayed. You know, I mean, even the guy who killed the lion, he did get emotional. He showed some reverence there, which I liked. It could have been worse. They talked about how its animals are, I guess, a commodity in some respects with the rhinos. You know, I think that guy had 1,500 rhinos, didn't he, on his property?
Yeah.
And, you know, so what's better, 1,500 rhinos for him to have and raise and cut off the horns, or 0?
Yeah.
You know, it's better to have 1,500, right?
Yeah, well, it's definitely better for the population of rhinos as a whole, because people don't like the idea of raising something as a commodity, raising wildlife as a commodity.
Yeah, I understand that.
Did you ever see the Louis Theroux documentary about wildlife in Africa, about those, I forget what it was called, but you can watch it on YouTube. That, to me, was a better piece and one of the most interesting things, because Louis is he's a very smart guy, but he's also a very nice guy.
Yeah.
And he just kept asking questions and pestering people and getting to the heart of it. But he also showed like these fenced-in lions, and they're throwing a dead cow over the top of the fence, and the lions are tearing it apart. It's fucking crazy.
I didn't see it.
But it's weird because these lions, they're never wild. Like, they're feeding them, and then people go over there and hunt them as if it's like a wild lion.
Yeah.
It's super weird.
I couldn't hunt in a fence. I couldn't hunt a lion in a fence. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's not what we call over here in America fair chase.
Right.
There's a term. That term fair chase is synonymous with ethical hunters in America.
Yeah.
And this is something that most people aren't aware of, that there's a code, and the code varies slightly. Like, in some places you can use electronic communication, meaning you can use walkie-talkies to locate an animal. Like, I believe you can do that in Arizona. You definitely can do that in Nevada. You can't do that in Montana.
Yeah.
You know, there's different things of what people decide is fair chase or ethical, and it depends. Like Colorado, they won't even let you use a light on your sight, on your bow sight. Can't have any electronics attached to your sight for whatever reason. They just started allowing lighted knocks.
Well, that was just in Oregon too.
Yeah.
They've been outlawed in Oregon. I think. I mean, I haven't used them in Oregon, but I think they are legal now. But yeah, I mean, as far as, so you're trying to define what is fair chase.
Right.
And so, yeah, there's a lot of these electronics, this or that, but what we say is fair chase is not in a high fence.
Well, it's definitely not feeding a lion in a cage and then opening up the door right when the hunter pulls up.
Yeah,
that is what they do. Oh yeah, that is what they do.
Yeah,
and it's one of the reasons why a lot of these lions that get shot, they don't know what the fuck is going on. They're bedded somewhere. They just lay down. Yeah, because they're outside in this new environment. Like, where am I? They don't even know what it is because they've been living in this very small environment, and then they let them out, and they let them out right when the hunter gets there.
Yeah, that's tougher to justify.
It's very tough to justify. I feel like it's not justifiable.
Yeah.
You're not hunting anymore. You're just murdering an animal.
Yeah, so
it's not murder. Murder's a person, right?
No, so I'm gonna not address that part and just address hunting in general. Right. And hunting in general is what's necessary for the future of animals. I mean, until it gets down to a number where maybe the white or black or whatever rhino that is, that's only down to a handful. Obviously, you're not going to hunt those, but by and large, hunting is what keeps these animals, the population, viable.
Well, and then there was also the case of Corey Knowles, who went over there.
Yeah, Knowlton.
Knowlton.
No,
how do you say it?
Corey Knowlton.
Knowlton?
Yep.
Is that how you say his name?
Yep.
Sorry, Corey. Corey Knowlton.
We got it.
Why did I say Knowles?
But yeah,
I have too many names in my head. But anyway, when Corey went over there, and Corey's done the podcast
too much pot
as well.
smoking.
You think so?
No. But that's what people like to say, right?
Yeah, people like to say a lot of stupid shit. Let's have a pop quiz, motherfucker. See who knows more shit. But when Corey went over there, he spent $250,000 to shoot an endangered rhino.
I think it was 350,000. Wasn't it
that much?
I think I mean,
it was a lot
of money,
hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yeah. And he said that it was undervalued. And he said the reason why the bidding didn't get higher was because there was so much pressure on people to do it. But he explained very eloquently and very clearly on CNN and when he did my podcast about it, all the death threats that he got. But he said, listen, that rhino was killing other rhinos.
Right.
That is why.
And not breeding.
Not breeding. It was it was an old rhino that was past its breeding prime. It wasn't breeding anymore, and it was killing the young rhinos. It had killed a female that it tried to mate with, and it had killed another male. And it was this is an endangered animal, and this thing was killing other animals.
Right.
So they had decided, look, we have to take this out of the population. So what is the best way to do it? To get a tremendous amount of money that can go for anti-poaching efforts and all these different things. And so he explained it. Like, he's like, this is an animal that they were going to kill. They had to kill it because it was threatening this endangered population of only like a couple of thousand rhinos, right?
Right. Yeah.
It was a really interesting situation, and people would like it if that wasn't the case. They would like it if the money is actually coming from animal welfare groups and from wildlife lovers who just want to see these animals alive. The difference is it's very rare that someone is going to give you $350,000 to keep a rhino alive.
No. And so that's a magnified example, but that's pretty much what's happening with all the animals. I mean, you're not getting that much money, but you're getting money in exchange for their life, basically, and it's for the betterment of the herd. Yeah. I mean, that's hunting.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's like I said, very magnified because you're getting a huge amount of money and there's only a few animals, but it's easy to see, hey, killing this one is going to save animals. So that's really easy to see. But that's pretty much what happens with all animals. I memean, you're balancing that herd.
The other thing is they ate that rhino, and a lot of people ate that rhino. I mean, they gave that meat away to villages, and people don't know. Not only can you eat rhinos, apparently they taste good. Same thing with elephant. Elephant apparently tastes delicious.
Well, do you remember in the Trophy movie, they could care less what elephant that guy killed, but they didn't like that it was small.
Right.
Do you remember that? Because they wanted more meat.
Yeah.
They don't care about, they care about eating.
Yeah.
That's it. So, I mean, as far as the locals go, I mean, so here in America, it feels like, we take up these causes and it's like, we're the social justice warriors for the world. It's like, we ought to probably check in with the people that actually live there, right?
Yeah, they want you to kill the lions. Like, Jesus Christ, these things. There was an article in the New York Times shortly after the Cecil the Lion controversy. It said in Zimbabwe we do not cry for lions.
Right. I know. I read that one.
Yeah.
No, that's real life. I mean,
real
so
life.
Over here, everything.
It's all Lion King.
Everything lives. Everybody's friends, but
Simba is my friend. Yeah, and no one's saying that lions need to die.
No,
I mean, look, I'm not in favor of those high fence things and the way they keep those lions alive.
And you would never hunt a lion. You've told me before you wouldn't hunt one.
No,
right?
No desire.
Right. So, but you understand hunting and how it works and what we need.
Yeah,
you know,
it's just a weird facet of human nature that we've sort of boxed ourselves into this situation with Africa. But Africa, I think, is like, you could look to that example and see how this is a very complex issue.
Yeah.
You know, it's especially, let's take all what Steve Rinella calls the charismatic megafauna out of the equation, like giraffes, which everybody loves. Like, I had a whole bit about giraffes in one of my comedy specials, that they're the one animal that you can't say is not better off in the zoo. Yeah. Because like other animals, they look like captive. They look like they're contained. Yeah. But giraffes are so happy. Babies feed them. Like, I used to take my kids to the zoo when my daughter was, I don't even think she was 2. She's holding out a piece of lettuce, and a fucking giraffe comes up.
Huge head.
Huge. Giant tongue wraps around the lettuce and takes it from her. She's giggling and laughing. Yeah. But they're so confident in giraffe behavior that they let babies feed them.
Yeah, that's impressive.
There's not another animal like that in the zoo.
No, because animals are, wild animals, don't know what they're going to do.
But what I said was that a giraffe wakes up every day in the zoo and goes, another day with no lions.
That's true.
And just sort of wanders around the zoo they look like they're having a blast.
Yeah.
But they have not a care in the world. They don't mind at all being in that fence. As long as you keep chucking that hay over the side,
they're good to go.
Keep it coming. Keep that hay coming, baby.
Yeah, that's good to go.
But we have connections with certain animals. Elephants are a big one. Lions are a big one. Giraffes, for whatever reason, are a big one. Even zebras. People are like, why are you shooting a zebra? It's too much like a horse. Yeah. Like, we have these, but if it's like an antelope, like that you eat, like, oh, that kind of makes sense. Yeah. Like, we have these kind of make sense animals. And again, warthogs, nobody gives a fuck about warthogs. There's no one out there trying to save the warthog. People don't even know how many there are. They don't care.
They could care less.
No, this is not. Like, people are worried about lions, and no one is out there wondering how many warthogs there are left in Africa.
I see it all the time. It's like people will comment, not hunters obviously, but they'll be like on my page and say, well, I don't have a problem if you kill deer and elk, but there's no reason to kill a bear. It's
right.
Like, what are you talking about?
Have you ever had bear sausage?
Yeah.
Well, if you've had bear sausage, and you probably haven't, but if you have, it's goddamn good. And why is it any different?
It's the same.
Why is it any different?
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah. So it's just what they're ingrained to feel about an animal, I think.
Well, they seem too dog-like.
Think so?
That's a thing. That's the thing with people. Bears just seem dog-like.
Well, they're portrayed as being nice and
people have them for pets too. Like, there's a lot of people that have bears pets, like a lot of Russian dudes.
A lot of people?
Yeah, man, on Instagram.
Do you have one,
You can
Jamie?
find them. There's this one motherfucker has a giant grizzly bear that he cuddles with. People keep sending me videos of this guy. I'm like, one day.
I know. Yeah.
One day this video's going to get dark.
God. Yeah.
Yeah, look at this guy. He's got a sweet bear. He's just chilling with this bear. This bear is my friend, and we hang out. I take him places, and he likes my girlfriend, and I rub his back. But one day he ate my baby.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like a cool bear.
It's a dope bear. Look, they're fucking awesome animals, man.
Yeah.
I love all of them.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. If you had 1,000 of those living in your neighborhood, you'd have to thin the herd.
Yeah.
You just have to. And the reality of all this stuff is super complex, and I just do not think you get an understanding of it from, in front of your laptop in Vancouver. You don't.
No, for sure. So what I like is, with regard to like this International Wildlife Council, or even, it just seems like with this administration, and people will say good or bad, or mostly bad, it feels
depending
like
on who you're listening to.
And that's one thing that I would read CNN. I listen to. It's like it's the same topic, 2 totally different slants. So it's like, what the hell? Who do you believe? So that's why I was happy to be involved, so I can actually hear. But still, it's still hard. It's still hard to listen and think. Okay, so what's going on? But with my whole thing is like, I kind of look at it as, if I got somebody online giving me advice, or you give me advice, I'll be like, well, Joe knows me. I'm going to listen to him. That's why I kind of wanted to be involved in these councils and in this part of this decision making, because they can listen to all these people talking shit all day, but if I'm there and can actually weigh in, well, then they know me, and you know, it should weigh a little more, and
they know your experience in this.
And so that's why I want to be involved. I'm not saying I'm going to agree and it's going to be exactly what I wanted every time, but you know, I don't know how else to do it. I don't know how else to do it. And I know that with my voice, because, you know, they have trust in me about whatever, even if they agree or don't agree, I'll at least get to share my thoughts. And so that's what I did, you know, like when I talked with Zinke the other day.
What is he like? He's an avid hunter, right?
Yeah, that's what, you know, and I've read all these, man, you would think he was the word, just like Trump, you know, people, you'd think they were Satan to some people. But to me, I read the Outside magazine article on him. It sounded terrible. And I was like, God, that's not good. I read a few other things about him. I'm like, but to me personally, would listen, seemed like somebody who, if we were sitting there talking about something and we came to a decision and it made sense, that's what he seemed like a normal, you know, well thought out person.
Well, I think he's probably got a tremendous amount of pressure on him from a bunch of different angles.
Oh, for sure.
They're all interested in making money.
For sure.
And they think of someone that is pro-wildlife as being a roadblock to the money.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this fucking greenhouse-loving, hippie, tree-hugging asshole.
What he told me is he's concerned, he wants to increase hunting opportunities and, you know, public land opportunities, you know, so that's kind of what I want to hear. So, I mean, maybe who you're talking to, I understand that, but it sounds good. I mean, it gave me a better feeling talking to him than reading the other articles, the articles about him.
Right.
So, and then his staff, great people. Like I said, just like we'd sit here and talk and it makes sense. And even talking with Donald Trump Jr., I'd be like, God, I wish we could just do this right now, because it's like you can actually come to a consensus, make a decision, talk it through, and be like, that's how it should be, you know? And it feels like it's different. Politics are different because everybody, like you said, there's pressure from different places. But when I think of a politician, I think, you know, special interest groups and these other people that are influencing them, and you're wondering, why is this for their own benefit? And so you don't really know. With this, it doesn't feel like that. It feels like it's trying to make the right decision, you know, without being influenced. I know there's always gonna be influence, but without like the special interest type influence. And I don't know, you know.
Well, I think the more people like you that are involved in this, and the more people like you have a say, or at least they come to you for advice, you're going to get at least a more balanced perspective of what the potential hazards are, what's important, what we need to concentrate on. You know, I think regardless of what you think about Trump, what people were excited about him as a president would be that the economy would have an upswing, and it did. But lately, the last couple of days, has been a massive decline in the stock market.
Yeah, it's been, yesterday I think was the biggest loss ever.
I don't understand the stock market. I really don't get it. A bunch of assholes throwing their hands in the air. There's computers that are doing a lot of the calculations.
I don't know what's going on.
It's too fucking confusing. I feel like if I just went down that rabbit hole, I'd be stuck studying the stock market for weeks upon weeks. And I just don't have that kind of time, dude. I got to play Techno Hunt with Cam Haynes.
Well, and I like reading stuff like, you know, stock market's at an all-time high. Yeah. Everybody's making money. And
that's
like,
all I heard. I heard that, nothing but that, like jobs, like more jobs than ever, you know, unemployment's at an all-time low. I'm like, well, you know, when you have a guy who is just so hell-bent on making money in business, it's good for business. Yeah. Right? So, like, that would be the benefit of having a guy like that. But then, apparently, there's some downsides to that shit, and the downsides are inflation and panic And then once the stock market starts going south and people start freaking out, then it really goes south.
Yeah.
And now it's really gone south.
Well, last couple days. I mean,
that's all. I live in the moment, Cam Haines. I'm not here for your fucking rosy view of the future.
Oh, sorry.
I don't even understand the stock market. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
I like hearing good news. That's what I like hearing.
Yeah. I get comfort in hearing people that I'm not wondering about what their intentions are.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I enjoyed the discussions with those guys. And
yeah,
you know, I just said, you know, it feels like as sportsmen, we took a couple of hits. We could use something on the positive side, and I think we're getting that on Friday. So
on Friday, are they going to make new rules in terms of what you can bring back and what you can't bring back?
No,
Is that the idea behind it?
No, that's not about the international. This is about the corridors.
Corridors.
Yeah.
Right.
So protecting migration routes for the big game animals here.
That's
which
phenomenal.
Is important.
That's
it's
very
big.
important. Yeah, especially for animals like mule deer whose populations aren't really that good right now. Yeah,
well,
elk.
Elk still need to be able to get out of the high country, out from, you know, where they breed, down when the weather hits, to get down to where the feed is. And if there's a bunch of gas rigs in there, not gonna be able to do it.
Do you follow Gritty Bowman on Instagram? You do, right?
Yeah.
Brian was taking all these videos of elk in Evergreen
because
they just wander right through the town, and they're huge.
Yeah,
these are
bulls.
Giant bulls that are just hanging out near cars.
I know.
They have zero fear of people.
I know.
And they know that once they're in the town, that's like they're on home base. They're safe. It's weird how they know that.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I know. I did see that. There's some nice animals in there.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. People pulled over just checking them out, and they're screaming and rutting. It's just weird that they just migrate right through the town.
Yeah.
So they probably figured out a long time ago, hey, just keep away from the cars and nobody fucks with you.
We're good to go.
But, you know, they have weird rules in Evergreen where you can kind of hunt in your backyard.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, if you own a certain amount of property, I think it's like more than an acre.
Yeah.
You could fucking boom, plouch right in your backyard.
Got a full freezer then.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's exactly why they made those rules.
Yeah.
I think it's by section, you know, by unit, depending upon where you're at.
Right.
But in some places, you literally can hunt in your backyard. So I would imagine the elk avoid those places.
I would think so. They learn pretty quick.
They figure that shit out. Isn't it interesting?
They learn quick.
Well, that's one of the things that they said about reintroduction of wolves into Yellowstone. They figured it out after a while. They're like, okay. Like, in the beginning, they were just sitting ducks.
Yeah.
You know, but that was in the 90s.
Yeah.
And now we're in 2018. It's essentially the ecosystem has sorted itself out.
Yeah.
And there's some good arguments that it's sorted itself out for the better.
Yeah.
You know, which is, you know, for the betterment of other wildlife, other plant species that the elk were, you know, eating a shitload of. So it's interesting. But also you should note that where they brought those wolves back, you can't hunt.
Right.
Because this is the greater Yellowstone ecosystem is like it's all protected.
Right.
So maybe they needed them there.
Yeah. It's hard to say.
Yeah. Just don't bring them to Colorado, fuckers. Don't do it.
There you go.
Don't do it. So what else are you going to discuss with Zinke? How often do you meet? Like, what does this job entail or this position entail?
On that council, it says you meet twice a year. So I don't really know what about or when that's going to happen. But for me, and my whole thing is like, well, if I want to get to know somebody, I like to have them do what I do. Mm-hmm. It's like you. And so he says he has a bow. And I'm like, I said, what kind of bow? He told me what kind of bow. I'm like,
what kind of bow?
I said, what did he have?
It's
like
not a Hoyt RX-1.
No, it's an old bow.
Oh, really?
God, I can't even.
Like a high country?
Something like that. Something like that. But I'm like, so anyway, I said, you want to shoot that bow? He's like, yeah. I said, well,
hook him up with Hoyt.
No, they can't take any gifts.
They can't take gifts?
So I said, because I said that, and I said, well, don't worry about that. I go, just shoot your bow. I said, how about if I come back to DC there and we shoot bows? And
you can't give him a gift as a friend?
I don't know.
Like maybe from a company would be an issue.
It's pretty regulated.
Oh, that makes sense.
Taking whatever.
You can only take bribes.
under the table.
You can't take gifts.
You can't have an actual bow.
Isn't that funny? You can take campaign contributions.
Yeah, but not a bow.
Yeah, you can't take a bow. You could have lobbyists that are on staff that are trying to get cash and working those special interest groups. Come on, baby.
Well, so
can't take a bow.
We talked about next week me going back there and shooting bows
with him.
Yep, and talking just about whatever, you know, just kind of
film it. I want to see his form.
That's right. So we're trying to make that happen, and I just, you know, like I said, if you have somebody's ear, you just want to be able to, you know, tell them what's important to you, and that's all I want to do. But I can do that generally better over something I care about, like archery or running or lifting weights or whatever like that. So that's my goal, just to, you know, share because I feel like I have a pretty good pulse on what's important to sportsmen and hunters here in North America. And so I just want to share that.
Well, I know Donald Trump Jr. is an avid archer. Like, he's really into it. He's an avid hunter.
He's got a Hoyt.
Yeah. And you got a chance to talk to him too.
Yeah. Quite a while. Yeah, he wants to do the podcast.
This podcast.
Yeah, so he want, you know, me, you, and him can talk about hunting.
Okay, we're in, Don.
So
think we'll smoke weed first?
For sure. Oh, for sure.
What's he like?
No, total normal. I mean,
how's that possible? How's it possible you grow up with Donald Trump as your dad? You got a golden toilet bowl when you're a little kid.
That's what I said. I said, you know, I go, because I haven't met any of Donald's kids except for Don Jr. So I'm like, well, but I follow him on Instagram. You know, you kind of get
I do too.
Kind of a sort of a feel for what I said, man, I go, you know, in talking to you, I said, it seems weird to say, but seem like a normal guy, which your dad's a billionaire. I don't know. Is he a billionaire, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So doesn't that seem, it seems surprising. He's like, seems like just like we would be.
Right.
Total normal. I mean, I follow him on Instagram. I see the pictures of his daughter, super cute, the fishing pictures. But I saw him on Tucker Carlson the other night, and I told him this, and we were talking in Vegas, and he was like just laying it down for a 1-minute clip on Instagram on Tucker Carlson, which is Fox News, and laying it down. And I was like, God, I never really had followed his political or his public speaking type life. So I was like, holy crap, this guy's pretty dialed in.
It's probably the plan. He probably takes over when Big Daddy retires.
He might. I mean, he's 40, so he's just kind of getting his feet under him.
Slides right in
that world.
And Donald Trump dynasty, just like they did with the Bushes.
That's right. No, all of them.
The Bushes.
You know, once you're in there, it's like that's all they want.
Isn't that interesting?
It's crazy. But I would feel, I mean, man.
Well, that's what Dudley told me. Dudley said he wished that Don Jr. was running for president.
Yeah,
he said Don Jr. is very reasonable.
Oh man, totally.
But it's funny if he says one thing wrong, one slip up of a word, which by the way everybody does every day. I do it every day.
Yeah, me too.
But one slip up of the word, Corey Knowlton. Right, one fuck up like that, and then this dunce. I mean, you see all
it's just magnified,
ridiculous hate that comes his way, and the attacks against him, and people right now listening to this probably yelling at their phone because they're fucking justified. He's a piece of shit. He's a shill. He's a this. He's a that.
It's. I mean, it is really hard not to get pissed off.
What's really hard to be unbiased. It's really hard to just have a balanced perspective. I don't think anybody does a good job as president. I've never seen a single person do it well. I've seen Obama give very good speeches. I think he's very statesman-like. I think he's very what Obama did that was excellent was he was very composed and articulate and smooth, and he represented a highly educated, like a high level of human being in terms of his intellect and the way he carries himself. And I think that's good for the country, you know. But I think you look at the drone attacks, you look at the attacks on whistleblowers and on the press, and there's a lot of bad shit about the Obama administration that everybody wants to sweep under the rug, because I think nobody's a good president. I think it's a terrible job.
I didn't like how he sort of started a war on cops. You remember when he was, you know, crucifying some of the arrests they had, and it started people were looking at cops thinking, are these the good guys or the bad guys? I didn't like that because maybe there are some bad cops, but there's bad everything you do. Every job has bad whatever. So
100%.
Instead of highlighting the people out there protecting our interests and serving the public, he was highlighting the quote bad cops, I guess, and it put them all in a bad light. I didn't like that. Whereas Trump, he knows, you know, he's highlighting good police work. He's highlighting the military. He's, you know, pride in the good old United States of America. I like that. So, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, well, the thing that drove me nuts, the most nuts about Obama was that crazy speech that he said, if you have a business, and that business uses the highway, you didn't build that.
Yeah, you didn't build that.
You didn't build that business.
Oh.
You didn't build that. Like that
pissed me off.
That is the craziest way to look at things.
Yeah.
If I was his friend, I would have said, okay, this is not the way to say this.
No, what he did, I think he started, like, highlighted the victim mentality. Everybody's a victim. Whereas I like Trump, he says, you're in control, here's your opportunity, make the most of it.
Well, I would have
like
just phrased it very differently. I would have said, if you have a business and you started it yourself, congratulations. This is what American ingenuity is all about. But we all have to be aware, not just you, not singling that person, you didn't build that.
Yeah.
You didn't do it. I would say we all have to be aware that without our infrastructure, none of us would be able to do this. So we all have to support this beautiful system that we have.
Yeah.
So in an empowering way, instead of, you didn't do it, you didn't build it, you didn't do it.
Taking credit away from people who worked their ass off.
And by the way, he's a guy who's never been in business.
Right.
He's a lawyer. He went from being a lawyer to being a professional politician to being the president.
Yeah.
Bam, bam, bam. I mean,
that's one thing I don't like is people who are like, their goal is to be a politician.
Well,
I don't like that.
I'd like it if they were awesome at it, but no one's awesome at it.
I like, it seems like the best, like even back in, when our country was founded, those weren't politicians. Those were guys who had influence, who made good decisions, and then they were politicians. You know what I mean?
I've been watching Vikings a lot lately. It's a new show I've been watching.
Okay.
And it seems like there's no good leaders.
Yeah.
Even in the Viking world, there was bad leaders. Just leaders suck. Nobody wants a goddamn leader. And when you're a leader of 350 million people or whatever the hell we have here,
it's tough.
It's just impossible. Doesn't make any sense. What's going on, Jamie?
I just looked up that quote. It got
you
taken
didn't build that.
Out of context.
Uncut and unedited. But he said it.
He said those two sentences, but not in that way.
Oh, if you got a business, you didn't build that.
Hey, you know what
somebody
that is?
else made that happen.
Fake news.
Well, I get,
okay, so what is the actual quote?
Just wait. I mean, here's the.
Let's hear the real quote. If you were successful, somebody along the line gave you some help. There was a great teacher. Okay, but what is it? If you've got a business, you didn't build that. Okay, somebody invested in roads and bridges. Okay, here it is. Somebody helped create this unbelievable American system that we have allowed you to thrive. That allowed you to thrive.
Yeah.
Somebody invested in the roads and bridges. If you got a business, you didn't build that. That's just a shit way to say it.
It is.
I don't care, even in context. Somebody else made that happen.
Yeah.
Not somebody else. We all chipped in.
Did somebody else?
No. That's what he's saying, I think.
I know that's what he's saying, but it's a shit way to say it. It's a shit, disempowering way to say it.
It is. That's what I don't like.
It takes credit away from the people.
Like that.
There's a way to do that. There's a way to phrase that. That needs an edit and a rewrite. And by the way, how the fuck could he even have time to do that when you're writing? I mean, you're writing under the pressure of being the president of the United States. I totally sympathize. I get it. I'm not saying I would have done better. I would have done way worse, but it still sucks.
Yeah.
It's just not a good way to say things.
I
agree. You didn't build it.
No.
You didn't do that.
I don't like. You said disempowering, and that's exactly right. And so, it feels like there's a different tone right now. And I'm not saying our president is perfect.
Just say it, white people. You like white people.
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm just saying nobody's perfect. But I like that part of the message.
Yeah. Well, he definitely has that part of the message, but he's obviously said a bunch of stupid shit too. But he's also a guy who flies off the cuff. I mean, we have to take into consideration what this guy was his entire career. He's a giant, larger-than-life personality with crazy hair who puts his name on everything, and then he ran for president. Like, of course, he's going to stay that guy when he becomes president. We go, no. Now that you're president, it's like if you're playing Beauty and the Beast and you're the Beast, you got to act like the Beast. Now you got the role, you got to act like the Beast. Like, why are you still acting like Hugh Grant?
Yeah.
You know, you can't.
I know.
And it's the role of being the president is this, you know, this majestic top of the mountain that we look at like, oh, he's the guy, he's the main dude.
Yeah.
You're supposed to act like the president. Like,
yeah, that's what they say. He's not presidential.
Exactly.
It's like he never has been. No. But you know what? He's been a leader. Yeah. You know, so here's what I know. I don't see ISIS over here bombing the shit out of the United States anymore. You know, because they're all dead.
There's a lot. Well, there's a lot of that, but they were never bombing the shit out of the United States.
They're trying
There's
to.
A few dummies that snuck over here and did some stupid shit.
They're not here.
Horrible shit. Yeah. Look, the one thing that the military has said, and friends of mine that are in the military, and guys like Tim Kennedy that rejoined. Yeah. He said that they feel like, for the first time in a long time, the military is basically got the handcuffs off. Yeah. And that they are allowed to do things the way they think would be best. Right. And a lot of people don't like to hear that. They like to say, well, no, the politicians are supposed to control the military, and it's supposed to be, you're not supposed to allow the generals to make the decisions. Right. There's a debate back, this is, again, like a lot of other things. Like, this is a very complex, nuanced conversation that you'd have to have all the facts at your disposal. I don't.
No, either do I, but I can say they're not bombing the shit out of the United States. It's not like a complete redneck. Right. And that's how I see it. But I understand there is, I mean,
well, you need a strong military because the world has some dark places. And anybody who doesn't think that you need a strong military, you need to pay attention to what the fuck is going on in Syria, in North Korea, and a lot of parts of the world where there is chaos. And this is an entirely real possibility anywhere. Anywhere that exists, it can exist here. Yeah. If you see horrible tyranny and destruction and chaos in other parts of the world, the only reason why it's not here is because of geography. Yeah. If they can get there, they can get here. If things can go sideways in Iran or in Iraq or wherever the fuck it is, they can go sideways in America too. And if you don't think that we need military, you're goddamn crazy. Yeah. Because look, I would love it if we didn't. I would love it if we lived in this utopian world where everybody treats people the way you or I would. Yeah. Where you don't have to worry about it. If you and I were neighbors, I would never worry about you invading me. You know, I'd be like, oh, Cam's never gonna like bring a gun over and fucking take over my house. He's a nice guy. If the world was like that, it would be nice, wonderful. It would be wonderful. But right now, it's not currently like that. And people that I know, like Tim Kennedy, a guy who's been there, a guy who's done that, a guy like Jocko Willink, a guy who's been there. Those are the guys that I turn to when I want to know like what's going on over there. Yeah. I want to get a real perspective. You want to get a real perspective for someone who's been in active duty in a combat situation, who's been to these horrific parts of the world. Right. They can tell you what's going on. And when they tell you that it's a better situation, that the military has the handcuffs off, I listen to them.
That's a good sign. That's good. And I talked to Tim at SHOT Show, and he, you know, about going back in, and he said that same thing. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. It just it feels like I don't know. It feels better that we're not having the terrorist issues over here anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I really wish that everyone would come back home. I really wish that no one was in Afghanistan. I really wish that we weren't the police people for the world. I really wish that we're not sending young people to die in foreign wars that don't make any sense to you or I or anybody that really knows what the fuck is going on there. But this is the world we live in right now.
Yeah, you know, we manage it the best we can. Yeah, protect people here.
Yeah, and hopefully protect people there too. Yeah, you know, it's just.
Now that's why you got to respect the people that are over there doing that, and you know, it's just like, you know, what a sacrifice. Yeah. You know, and it's I want to never take it for granted that there are, you know, we're safe here, things are going on, but just what's the sacrifices made by people in the military. It's I never want to forget it.
Yeah, it is a very controversial subject with people. Because if you're on the left, you want less military, you want less war, you want less violence, you want less everything, and that's a totally reasonable position. But I think in a lot of ways it's like wildlife. Like you're talking about it as someone who's never experienced it. And I think once you experience it and once you've been to these parts of the world, at least my perspective based on the descriptions that I've gotten from people that have been there, are that it's way more complex. There are just parts of the world that are fucked.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
It's not black and white, that's for sure.
And I think it's going to take many, many generations for those parts of the world to become a better place for people to live in and sort of catch up to what we think of as civilization in the Western world. And, you know, I mean, you're looking at parts of the Middle East where the women in Iran are risking their lives and their safety by not wearing a religious outfit. There's all these protests where these women are on the streets not wearing the hijab, and they're walking around, and they risk being imprisoned.
It's amazing.
Is fucking crazy.
I know.
And these women are brave as hell, man. And they're out there just saying, fuck this, enough already. And they're taking pictures like that, and they're putting it up on social media. And, you know, there's a big revolt there right now where people are just tired of it. They want fucking freedom. You know, and they see what's going on in the rest of the world. They have the internet, and they get a chance to see what's going on in America. And that's one of the things that we always have to remember about America. Yeah, America might be fucked in some ways, and we definitely have issues, but there is more opportunity and more possibility for you to do what you want to do here than almost anywhere on the planet Earth.
That's a fact.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And there's more art that comes out of here, and there's more comedy that comes out of here. There's so much shit, more movies. There's a lot of great shit that comes out of this one spot.
It's a great place to, I mean, we're blessed to live here, and we've only known this. You know, and I couldn't imagine living someplace where it wouldn't matter how smart or how hard of a worker you are, or how, you know, and whatever talented you weren't getting out of there. And that's how it is in some places. And so, you know, in here, it's not like that. And man, I just hope we never need to forget that. I never want to forget that. And I just hope other people just realize that, because it's not like I've been everywhere, but I know that the challenges like the women have that you were talking about, it's like I couldn't imagine that.
Look, one of the reasons why I'm pro-America is because I'm pro-human being. And I think there's more chances for people to be who they really want to be and become what they really want to be here. You know, and I support a lot of left-wing ideas. Equality and freedom and gay marriage. I think you should be able to do whatever the fuck you want to do. I mean, go have fun. Just be nice. Don't just be you. Just go be you. So when, you know, people see me and they like see this giant American flag behind me, and they think immediately, oh, right wing, oh, fucking conservative, all right, or whatever this is. What is this? What do you support? Imperialism? You support this? Like, no, I support the idea of what America is. That's what I support.
Me too.
Fuck yeah! Woo! So, elk hunting, September. Are we back? Same spot? Going to the Deseret? Is that locked in?
Hell yeah.
That was crazy. That's a beautiful place.
No, I know.
That was one of the most fun times I've ever had.
Well, we're gonna do it again.
I'm excited.
Me too.
470,000 views. That video was a lot of fun to make too, man. I just wish that they had put in the elk that you shot. Your elk, you did wind up shooting an elk, but did the video that did not get the actual arrow hitting the elk on camera? Is that what the issue was? It's tough. You know, bow hunting is hard. Bow hunting on film is even harder. And so it's you know, we do the best we can to tell the story. I don't think it does tell the story very well. No, but we do the best we can. It is hard, you know. I think it should be a lot longer. That's what I think. I think that thing should have been at least an hour, and I think even then it wouldn't have told the whole story, because you look at it like it's one of the things that I've told a friend when we were watching a hunting show before. They're like, "Wow, it looks so easy. They just go out there and they always shoot something." I'm like, man, to shoot one of these shows, like we were watching Meat Eater. First of all, Meat Eater is one of the rare shows that they'll have a lot of shows where they're not successful. Like I've done 2 different shows with them where we weren't successful.
Yeah.
We just go out there 7 days.
Well, that's most hunting.
Most hunting, yeah. So when you boil all that down to 22 minutes with commercials,
yeah,
it just looks like inevitably you're going to get to about 18 minutes in, someone's going to shoot something. Yay, they got it. It seems like they're shooting things that are definitely going to be there, but that's not the case.
No, there's no guarantee, especially with the bow.
Yes, especially with the bow.
I think, well, I mean, we can film on ourselves. We can film on ourselves and make it as long as we want.
That's what I think we should do. I've been thinking about that a lot because I was frustrated by that whole thing and this archaic idea that everything has to be 10 minutes long. You're talking to a guy who does a 3-hour podcast.
Yeah,
I don't buy that.
We've been talking for quite a while today.
Yeah, and millions of people listen to this. So I don't buy it. I think it's an archaic, antiquated way of looking at things. I don't think it's right. And I think this idea that people have an incredibly short attention span, listen, people are consumers of entertainment, and especially people who love hunting. I watch a lot of videos.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of hunting videos. I watch a lot of videos on science. I watch a lot of shit. I watch hours and hours of stuff, things that I'm interested in.
Right.
And the people that are interested in elk hunting, they don't want to just see a couple guys laughing and joking around that an arrow hits a big bull and everybody's happy. No, they want to see like what happened. Like, what was the struggle? There was a lot of struggle. There was a lot of days.
We had to keep hammering.
We did have to keep hammering. That was fun. That one clip was hilarious. That was told, by the way, folks who listen to this or watching this, if you watch that clip of Cam and I, that was not rehearsed.
No.
That just came out of nowhere. We were just fucking around.
We were Keep Hammering has been around a little while, so
it's been around a long
thought
time. They thought that was the origins of it.
They did that. That was because that's how good we sold it.
Yeah.
That's how good we sold that thing. Yeah.
Well, that's your sense of humor that I think most people are not aware of. That's what you said. That's very you have a very funny, dry sense of humor.
Oh.
You know, that was fun.
Yeah, it
was a lot of fun. So who's coming this time? Is Adam Greentree going to come down?
Oh, where, to Utah?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know.
Listen, Under Armour, get your shit together. This is what we need. Remy Warren, Adam Greentree, John Dudley, Cam Haines, me, Ben O'Brien. Make it happen. Sell it. Wrap it up. Make a video, an hour long. How about just Under Armour? Let me film it. Just let me handle this. You guys don't know what the fuck you're doing.
No, I think
10 minutes.
I know. I think we can. I just want to. Man, I've always wanted to just share the hunting adventure, just
the real hunting adventure,
and give it the content, the time to develop the story. Just let it evolve. You know.
Do you watch those Hushin guys on YouTube?
No.
They're great videos.
Are they good?
Yeah, and they got a lot of content. And one of the things that you really get out of their content is you really get a sense of how difficult it is. And mostly what they're doing is public land hunting.
Oh, Born and Raised?
That's another group of guys.
Yeah, I watched that.
I watched those guys too.
Yeah.
But one of the beautiful things about YouTube is there's no time parameters.
Right, yeah. No,
you know?
and people, I mean, we are just kind of locked into this 22 minutes with commercials type thing from the Outdoor Channel. And it doesn't need to be like, I was talking with Brandon Shockey about this back at, and he's so talented as far as a filmmaker goes. And even in Womack, who put together our Utah, I mean, without the handcuffs of a time restraint, I just think the sky's the limit.
I agree too. I think the story should be what the story is, and just make it what it is. I don't give a fuck if it's 40 minutes or an hour and 40 minutes.
People will watch it.
People will watch it.
Yeah.
And the ones who don't, they weren't going to watch it anyway.
Yeah.
The idea that like you get it in 10 minutes and somehow or another it's more digestible in 10 minutes, like, stop.
Yeah.
That's not real. This is people have these weird ideas in their head about things like, oh, but the statistics show that more people watch 10-minute videos. Well, if you want to watch videos about babies chewing bubblegum or some stupid shit like that, yeah, the 10 minutes. But you're supposed to be showing respect to what is one of the more difficult and misunderstood pursuits in the United States.
Right.
And that's bow hunting.
Right.
It's incredibly difficult and incredibly misunderstood.
Yeah.
And I think it's a noble pursuit, and I think it's one of the more intriguing things and more interesting things I've ever done in my life.
Well, I know, and I don't know if you could capture it all in one film, but I just know that, if somehow we could capture just the more of the journey, because there's people that don't know anything about it. Just like want to know how to get started. I don't know if you could have one film that would do all that, but I just know that there's people hungry for knowledge out there that we're reaching, even with this podcast or with social media, that haven't been ingrained. So it's like we're making these films to people who are already hunters and already know everything. And so to them, oh, we got to do this in a short period of time, otherwise they're going to get bored because they've done this a million times themselves. Well,
that's bullshit.
No, that we need to make it for the masses.
Exactly.
Because that's who we're reaching now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the millions and millions and millions. We're reaching more people than actually buy hunting licenses. Yeah. So we need to keep that. We need to remember that.
Yeah, and the idea that you're even reaching hunters, that they're going to get bored after 10 minutes. That's crazy.
No, yeah, because I'm like you. I watch all sorts of hunting stuff.
Especially you and me. We're entertaining as fuck. Let it roll.
Yeah, like the what were we saying? Oh yeah, with the chicken tied to the dog neck.
It was one of the funniest things Cam's ever said. He was talking about this guy. My dog's killed a few chickens, and I'm like, "Fuck! How'd you get your dog to stop killing chickens?" He goes, "Oh, we tied a dead chicken to his neck." And Cam goes, "They should tie a dead stripper to your neck." And it was just out of the blue, and I was fucking crying laughing. But that was one of the funniest things you said. But there was one other one. What was the other one? We had a hard time remembering it. Remember the other one that you'd said before?
Yeah.
It was even funnier than that. But my point is, he's got fucking stand-up comedy timing. That sounds like something that like one of my comic friends would have said.
Oh, okay. I wish I could remember the other one.
There was another one that was funnier.
I know.
Fuck.
I know.
God damn it. We're going to remember.
We laughed about the dead stripper tied to your neck for a long time.
Many times. It's also, too, at the end of the day, you're kind of exhausted.
You're tired.
You're delirious.
Yeah,
you're eating dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where the timing comes in.
Exactly. Well, it's like those hunting camps are so much fun. Like at the end of the day, you and me and Ben sitting around laughing, cracking jokes.
Yeah.
It's half the fun
best.
of it.
And the family up there, the Land family, love those guys.
Salt of the earth.
You know, Tom Land and his boys. It's just fun to be. They feel like family when you go back up there. You'll feel that this year. You know?
Well, he's a great guy. The whole staff they had there was fantastic. It's just an awesome place, and it's such a beautiful piece of land. You know, there's just this 240,000 acres.
Yeah, and that's you know, I know we're probably wrapping this up, but. So when you talk about hunting and conservation real quick, you know, on that piece of property, 240, they could make more money by running cattle on it.
Right.
Do you realize that? But if they ran cattle on it, that habitat would be thrashed.
Right.
The water sources would be thrashed. All those flowers, the grouse that live there, gone because it's just cattle. But if his goal is making money, they could just do that. But the goal is to make money, but also enhance the habitat, and that's, you know, hunting is the best way to do that.
Yeah, and it's just a magical place. Like the mule deer that we saw wandering around, this big mule deer, and they have everything there, all sorts of different wildlife. It's just, and it's gorgeous country too.
It is
beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap this bitch up. Cameron R. Haynes on Instagram, and is that the same as Twitter? But you don't even use Twitter, really, right?
No.
Facebook? Do you use Facebook at all anymore?
A little bit.
People die off that, right? Instagram's got it.
Instagram's got it right now.
All right, next video we make, folks, will be about 4 hours long. No, we can't. The hunting video.
We're gonna keep hammering.
We're gonna keep hammering. Bye, everybody.